What's up? Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Hope that you're having an all right day so far. I'm feeling a little bit shit, but we're not going to get into that just now. First of all, check your notification settings, I guess, since that's just happens to pop up right now. And oh my god, Patreon or whatever. We had some offline donos, so I updated this thing. We're at 75 for the month, which is pretty cool. Appreciate that. Thank you all so much for your participation. Thanks for hanging out. Nobody in the YouTube chat, what's up? I was just thinking, like, the last time I saw your name, nobody in chat, I was like, damn, like, nobody's been around since, like, I made collaborative content with Mr. Atheist, if not before that. Like, it's been a long time, huh? Paul Hack, also in the YouTube chat, hello. And then, of course, my lovely, lovely Horties on the website. I almost said imps, just like reflexively. Demon Mama's back, and she's in my brain, apparently. Mersh, how's it going? And Demonia and Baphomet, Decoy Duck. Yeah, like a duffel bag of shit. Big ol' motherfucking duffel bag of shit. Yes, absolutely. Hello, Jade of Awesome. I liked your good morning hoarding. I know it was a mistake, but I thought it was cute anyway. And Max and Faith by Faith. I hope the website is working for you today. Quarbarian, what's up? And Analia, hello. Oh, Raccoon Pope, I'm glad that your mom is home from the hospital now. That's really good stuff. That's very exciting. Himps and himbos, true. True. The himps. I do like the idea of calling them himpos. Ooh, thank you so much for the $5 dono, Quarbarian. Happy to be back after FFS. I'm glad you're here. It's only been a few days now, right? I hope you're doing all right. That is a very intense surgery. I forgot to ask, like, is it your first surgery? Because in the episode of my podcast that we just recently recorded, I don't know if it's come out yet, but I think it will be coming out soon. Kat and I talked about surgeries because she has FFS coming up, but she's already had vaginoplasty and like 4 revisions, so like 5 downstairs surgeries altogether, and she's had top surgery. So now coming into FFS, she's like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's going to be that big of a deal. Like, I've been under the knife so many times. Like, you're mostly freaked out about going under and like that whole experience, but like she was like, it's not a big deal. You like go to sleep and you wake up and then it like hurts for a little while and then you're good, you know, and the changes are so significant. Mersh, I think that's on you. Is anybody else having? Mersh says, I can still hear your music playing. I'm not showing that I have any music playing. It's my second. I got breast augmentation before, which I might get a revision on. Okay. Yeah, I've heard that top surgery for augmentation is like relatively no big deal, you know? That's what I've heard, at least. Recovery-wise, it seems to be fairly straightforward. There we go. We got to update that thingy. Oh yeah, don't forget to hit like on the video real quick. We're doing our usual thing where we're just going to kind of ease into it. All right, I am a little low energy today, so we're having my second cup of coffee. Hopefully this doesn't totally destroy me. I don't even get nervous about surgery because, like, in my head I'm thinking, all right, morphine for the next few days, nice. I don't really... Okay, so in an ideal world, Baphomet, that is how it should be, right? But, like, I know someone who was diagnosed with breast cancer at age 28. They're Ashkenazi Jewish person, so that's why they have the BRCA2 gene. And they had... I think they did the chemo stuff first and then surgery. And they ended up doing, like, a total removal of everything. And then later had reconstruction to, like, put implants in. But... their surgery where they had everything removed, terribly mismanaged pain afterwards. Like, why would you be reluctant to give pain medication to somebody who just had fucking surgery to get their cancerous breasts removed, you know? Like, that's fucked. So I would be nervous about surgery because of that, you know, like, and specific to the trans stuff. Oh, what's up, Zirzex? Hey, how's it going? I saw that you had joined the Discord. Thank you for joining up in the Discord, by the way. Let us know what we can do to make the Discord more exciting. Like, what are some things that you do in other Discords that you're more active in? Help me figure that out, because I just don't know how to do Discord management in that way. Excuse me. But like trans-specific surgery care is tricky as well, because you might just have like a nurse who wants to make it a problem for you. Like, I am following someone who just had top surgery a couple days ago, or yesterday maybe, and the nurses are like calling they had a breast removal, like masculinization surgery, and they're being called she by the nurses, and like they're using the dead name and stuff. Like, oh my god. Jade of Awesome with the $20 dono. Happy streaming. Thank you so much, Jade of Awesome, and happy weekend to you. To everybody, but especially Jade of Awesome in this particular instance. How socialized, true. Like, I don't know how. I actually did slightly more socialization than I normally would this week, because I watched a movie with a friend yesterday, which was good. Oh, yes. So we're at the beginning of stream. Let's check in. Let me know one thing that you did to take care of yourself physically, and one thing that you did to take care of yourself emotionally. I hung out with my friend for a couple hours yesterday watching a movie, and I've been lax in my physical taking care of myself, which I think might be part of why I feel like shit. Demonia, if you're getting hiccups today, let me know if that continues, because I realized that I have been streaming in 720p. And so I increased my stream bitrate. Like, it's higher quality stream output, so it might be challenging the bandwidth a little bit here. We'll see how it goes. Let me know how that is, everybody. Busier Discord servers are harder to keep up with, IMO. That's true, yeah. I feel like I want it to be just a little bit more regular, but I understand that it's hard to... I mean, there are times when I go in and I'm like, I'm not going to catch up on this whole conversation in the discourse channel, you know? I'm following my wisdom teeth surgery instructions. Very good. And emotionally, I'm relying on naps because dealing with wisdom teeth recovery is annoying. Good job, Mickey. That's good. I have, like, impacted wisdom teeth that I need to have removed, but it's already kind of expensive to have wisdom teeth removed. And then if they're impacted, like... What was it? It was some incredible number per tooth, like several $100, either $400 per tooth, or was it more than that? I don't know. Regardless, a bunch of fucking money to get my teeth removed. Physically had tea instead of junk food yesterday. Mentally made raspberry jam. I saw the raspberry jam. That's really exciting. I love raspberry and I love jam, and I was actually just thinking, like, I am about to have access. Well, not that I could purchase them online, but we're about to go to a place where spicy jellies are sold. You know, they do that at the Renaissance Festival sometimes. So I was like, oh, I wonder, I really love that strawberry ghost pepper one that I have, but I wonder if they have a raspberry ghost pepper one. Because here's the thing, ghost pepper tastes amazing. So if you put it through whatever process needs to be done to take a fruit and turn it into jam, it's not nearly so spicy, and it's delicious. Oh my god, my phone needs to be somewhere else where it's going to make less noise. Okay, thank you. Strawberry rhubarb jam, another type of rhubarb jam, and grape concord. I don't think I've ever had rhubarb before that I can remember. I did some tidying, which is kind of good for my mental well-being. That is good for your mental well-being. Good job. I'm proud of you. It's difficult in a bigger server to actually feel part of it, but Docord, for example, is a big one I read most messages in. Yeah, I'm not in Docord. I hear good things about it. I can keep up with most Discord servers as long as I feel like a part of it. Yeah, we need to create a sense of belonging and community. I think that's the trick. That's how to make the Discord successful. Eh. Yeah, I remember you mentioned your book club, Mersh. Interesting discussions with the book club. That's good shit. Faith by Faith says, I made lunch ahead of time this morning. Also read more of a book on how to avoid binge eating. That's really cool. I bet that's really difficult to manage. I personally have no experience with eating disorders myself, but I have disordered eating in general. Like, it's not quite the same. I cannot imagine. It sounds difficult, and I am proud of you. Oh my God, excuse me. We mostly need to be more inviting to more potential regulars. Okay, yeah. I basically, like, I imagine that the Discord server is going to eventually be comprised of regulars in the stream chat. So, you know, when we have a low energy stream, we'll end up having like 30 people in here, and there's about that many people in the Discord, then I will be happy. Oh, Mickey in the YouTube chat earlier said, in terms of other surgery stuff, I got my top surgery removal last year, and I dealt with fat phobia from surgeon, which wasn't great. Yeah, that's not good. What's up, Soy Boy? I've had a lot of water today, which was rad, and I've been working on a music video of mine as a revamp of my first music video I posted. That's really cool. I think I'm going to get rid of some of my plants. I'm not getting enough light in my little shelving area that I have, and I could condense the lighting that I have down to like 2 shelves instead of spread across 3 shelves. I could buy another light, but I'm also like, if we're gonna move at some point, you know, it's actually quite difficult to move plants, and I'm not gonna have like an easy time moving. Like, if we move across the country the next time we move, it's like a 27-hour drive. And the last time I moved, I was just like, 5 minutes back and forth in my little Honda. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging later on. So I think I'm going to get rid of some of my plants. It's a little bit sad, but it's all right. It'll be less for me to manage. They'll be like better taken care of if they're getting more light, because there's fewer plants, and I can, you know, actually use the lighting that I have more efficiently. You know how it goes. Yeah, Decoy Duck, in the same process, decluttering for the sake of a long distance move. Yeah, I'm like, I need to start selling my stuff. Does anybody want a Razer Black Widow Stealth with orange switches for like $100? Because I am not so far having any luck trying to sell it on the line. If I had $100, I'd take you up on it. It's a mechanical keyboard. Plants are friends to me. I can't imagine throwing them in the trash. Yeah, so I think my first attempt with my plants is going to be like, I'm in a local plant group, so I might try to sell some of the ones that are in good condition. But I also have a compost bin, so it doesn't feel wasteful to throw things in there. I'm just like, nah, now it's going to go into the ground someday. There are so goddamn many springtails in my compost bin. It's pretty awesome. I just cleaned my laptop. Nice. I need to pull out my computer and clean it. It's probably all kinds of dusty in there. What's up, NBJ? Phoebe says I've had no luck selling keyboards online. Yeah, I don't think it's a market right now. We're kind of in a little bit of a recession kind of thing, and there's like the inflation, and it's kind of hard to sell stuff. I wonder if that's why I've seen so much sweet secondhand furniture in the dumpster areas in my local town here. Because maybe people like just are not having luck selling their shit. I don't know. Would be easier if I had a house, because then I could have a garage sale. Plants are alive. Shouldn't we preserve that life? I tried growing a Venus flytrap, but I don't live in the correct climate, nor do I have the space or money to expand it to be in its natural climate. Yeah, I have tried to do that before myself. I have tried to do Venus flytraps. They're very temperamental. I mean, like plants, like you can try your best to keep a plant alive, you know, but like also I don't know. With plants, obviously it's not like a breathing animal that you have like a lot of attachment to and shit like that. But I mean, I think similar to with a pet or an animal, like there gets to a point with a plant and it's like, it's not gonna get better, you know, like it's not gonna recover. So I think it's reasonable at a certain point to be like, okay, this plant is not doing well in my care, and I've also fucked it up pretty badly, and if nobody else wants it, then I'm gonna return it to the earth, and like, you know, other things are gonna profit by it. It'll mostly of my fucking compost bin is coffee grounds, so I kind of feel like anything else that I can add to it is gonna make that mixture more like beneficial to plants down the line that I will sometimes have. Like, I do think that life is worth preserving and that death on average is worse as a condition than life. However, I don't think that... Okay, so let me just scrap that I don't think that. However, I find an importance in recognizing and embracing the like cycle of things, you know? Like if I didn't have such sentimental value attached to having Lucy's ashes in my possession, I might want to take some of his ashes and like dedicate them into some other thing, you know? Like how people sometimes will have their ashes planted at the same time that like a tree is planted and they put the ashes under there. And it's like, I'm nourishing the tree with my ashes or whatever. If I was your plants, I'd want to be composted. Then again, that's coming from someone who wants to be fed to carrion birds after I die. True. Yeah. I know it's a lot of acidity. My compost bin is like where plant scraps go. And lately I've accidentally like purchased more vegetables than I ended up cooking. So there's more garbage in there for plant stuff. And also every time I repot one of my plants, I take the old soil and put it in there. So I guess like a decent portion of what's in my compost bin is actually also just straight up potting soil that's just had the nutrients already sucked out of it. Yeah, so I know it's a lot of acidity for compost, but it's also a lot of nitrogen, right? I thought that coffee grounds contain a lot of nitrogen, so that can be good for plants. There's also a bunch of eggshells in there because I compost my eggshells. Did you know that plants use calcium to build their cell walls, and that's what gives them their structure and rigidity and makes them able to like hold up against the wind? I had some herb plants that were supposed to live 100 to 120 days, and I got over 200, and it was time to let them go last week, especially because I wasn't going to be around to nurture them after surgery. Yeah, I feel like you can't beat yourself up over losing a plant, because I mean, like, you're gonna be very upset often because some plants are just fucking temperamental, you know? Or some plants are just slightly too stressed by the conditions where you bought them, and they're like, oh, they're on a decline that you're not able to see, you know? Anyway, my grandpa's ashes were put to rest under a tree in a graveyard forest, and it was honestly very nice. Think I want that too. That's really cool. I like that conceptually. I think I still... My current position on what I want done with my body, and we've talked about this a few times on stream at this point, because I know Baphomet has talked about wanting to be fed to carrion birds after death, but if I have phalloplasty, which I would like to at some point in my life, and if at the time of my death I have a erectile implant, because it's like screwed onto your pelvic bone, I want to be buried somewhere so that my body could potentially be discovered later and like, oh, look at this person who seems to have been like maybe female bones, oh, female chromosomes, but penis attachment, like what? I want my body to be available in the archaeological record, basically. But if I were to die under other circumstances, I think I would probably agree with this concept of like being burned and put under a tree or something like that. I don't want to just be scattered in the ocean. That seems kind of wasteful, you know. Lux wants to cause future bigoted archaeologists to be scared and confused. I for one approve. I mean, yeah, I want it to be irrefutable. Like, we have the ability to make it irrefutable now in a way that we didn't before. We'll like uncover these bodies and we're like, wow, this like 6'4" person who seems to have a male skeleton. Not that that's actually very easy to determine, but they would be, they're like, oh, that person was buried with like a lot of female ornamentry and was dressed like a female. So we guess that that person is probably like what we would understand to be a trans woman. But now we have the ability to like alter our bones. Like a trans woman who's had facial feminization surgery is going to have evidence, especially if you have your whole fucking brow fixed. Like, they, as far as I understand it, they like cut off this rectangle of bone and like pull it off and then break it, because you can't necessarily just shave it down because you have sinuses inside here. So the bone here is hollow. So if you just shave it down, shave it, it might be too thin, and then it could break and hurt your bones in your face. So sometimes if you have a really pronounced brow, they take the bone out and then they like break it and then make it smaller, like so that the sinuses are not hurt. They just like totally reshape it and then they reattach it with like screws. So you would have evidence that the person's like face had been reworked pretty significantly, you know? I just like the idea that you cannot argue that trans people exist, you know? Also, starting HRT young enough changes your hip bones. Exactly. Not everybody has dramatic enough. Like, I feel like I have pretty dramatically big hip bones, but not everybody does. Ooh, Technetium. You start HRT next week. That is really good to hear. I'm very excited for you. Congratulations. Oh my God. I got in touch with my parents about my younger brother because he just became old enough to access hormones. And I was like, hey, what's going on with this situation? You know, cool. I was getting in touch with my family to let them know about the testosterone recall. Cause I was like, oh shit, you know, my younger brother is trying to get on T right now. So if they have a new prescription, it might be one of those ones that was recalled. I still have some T, and the stuff that I have is like old enough that it was way before this recall. But yeah, and then they were like, oh yeah, we're waiting on a referral. And I was like, why? And they were like, oh, we need a psych eval first. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. Like, whatever doctor they went to through their insurance was like making them go down the W path route. And I'm like, God fucking Christ. So I was like, I'm going to just get in touch with my doctor, who I believe is licensed in that state. And I'm just like, let's please get this figured out. Yeah, W path, more like cringe path. What's up, Sarah? And hello, Mickey. Am late. Why are you making so much noise? I cleared off my desk earlier and it's just made it to where my phone can vibrate much more easily and loudly. What's up, Ramya? Hello. I don't know if I've seen you in here before, so welcome. Catching up on YouTube chat a little bit here. Phoebe says, I commented once that I didn't want a trans body, that I was scared of that, but the way you're so positive about it is pretty amazing. I aspire that level to self-acceptance. Oh, you didn't want an identifiably trans body. Yeah, I mean, it's like scary. And there's an extent to which it's like, well, you can't fix it, you know, like you can't, it's going to be harder to like be, you know, stealth or whatever, or you can't really pretend to not be trans anymore once you've had certain things done. But it's really important to me, you know. Prescription tea is cheaper than I thought it was. I was checking GoodRx for my HRT prices and was curious. Estrogen is like $4 at Costco as well. Yeah, GoodRx is the good shit. I honestly think it might be cheaper doing GoodRx than it is to run your shit through insurance. But that's just... Honestly, it's lucky. I woke up at 9 a.m. Sunday streams start super early here in Vancouver. Yeah, it's 10 a.m. there, right? It's like 2 hours earlier. Don't you think by the time they exhume someone alive today, being trans will be fine by most people? I would love to think so. However, I'm never going to just assume that. Like, people kind of have this idea. I don't think they really mean for it to be this way, but like people just have this, oh, they'll be on the right side of history or they'll be on the wrong side of history, as though the trajectory of history is just inevitably going toward being more progressive and more open and more socialized or whatever. Like, I don't really think that we can just be like, yeah, that's just inevitably going to be the way things go. Unless you're out there actively forcing it to happen, it's not necessarily going to happen. And even if you are out there trying to actively make it happen, sometimes there are forces that are bigger than you, which are making it more difficult. Like, I've been working for the last... I mean, let's just say since I've started recording and uploading content. I mean, I've been working for trans acceptance since before that because I was out and active as an activist in high school. But, you know, I've been working actively on destigmatizing transness and stuff like that. And yet still, like, we're having this huge conservative backlash of all these different laws cropping up that are restricting. Like, it's like only been 10 years or so since I graduated high school, and I didn't know that puberty blockers were even an option back then. And then in the brief time that it's become more socially acceptable for kids to be on puberty blockers, we now have this sudden, like, Florida's making it illegal and they're going to detransition all the teenagers who are currently on hormones, and attempts at doing that all around the country otherwise, you know? So you kind of can't just assume that it's going to get better. How do cis folks have a problem with the term cis and trans only when it comes to the LGBTQIA, but are fine with it being used in science? The kind of people who take issue with the terms trans and cis, well, first of all, they usually don't take issue with the term trans. They take issue with the term cis because they're like, don't label me, I'm just normal. But the other thing about it is that they don't actually know that it's also used in science. Cis is a slur. True. Cis is a slur in this chat. Raccoon Pope says, I'm very specific about how I want to be buried. I want to be put in a coffin of dirt inside a mausoleum type thing that I have built before I die. And after my body decomposes, I'd want the coffin lid opened and the dirt moved to show my skull, but left alone otherwise. Is that how it's going to happen, IDK? There are like rules about how you can treat and store human remains, so I don't actually know if that falls within the rules. You'd have to look up the legal aspects of that. Yeah, some of them think that cis is a slur and that we use it against them as a forced made-up label. I mean, I think that the people who think that cis is a dirty word feel that way because when they call someone trans, they mean it in a dirty word kind of way. I want to be buried on a golf course so a rich asshole can use me as a tax write-off. Yeah, that would be good. I have insurance for the doctor, but I'm pretty sure my insurer would deny my HRT if I tried to use my insurance at the pharmacy. Yeah, like you might as well just skip it. Does this make up for when DM streams until like 2 a.m.? Is that how late she was streaming last night? I went to bed at about midnight last night. It's like, I guess it makes sense, you know, for her. She's streaming from like 4 p.m. to midnight her time, but holy shit. Yeah, turf is a slur used to silence you. Damn, wish it worked. True. It's a lot of projection. Yeah, exactly, Zirzix. Uh-oh, what did you do? Oh, I thought that I... Sorry, that's bad. Like, that's my bad. I thought that I fixed that. That word is a slur in this chat. I thought that I removed that one. Perhaps I did not. Ooh, there's been an update to the back end of the website. That's pretty cool. I'll have to look at that in a little bit. Anyone else notice how those people type cis in all caps as if it were an acronym? I think it's something that your phone does automatically, because I think cis is an acronym for something. And it's just people's phones do it automatically and they don't bother to fix it. It doesn't actually mean comfortable in skin, Phoebe. I heard that a long time ago. It's computer information systems. But I've heard people say it means comfortable in skin because I guess that was going around on Tumblr. People thought that. I knew a cis guy who was like, well, I have an eating disorder, so I'm not comfortable in my skin, and I think it's bullshit that people call me cis. And I was like, oh, baby, it does not mean that. And also, if you were comfortable in skin, like plenty of trans people are comfortable in their skin. Like, I would be cis now if I was using that definition, you know? But no, I'm trans. I'm just also very comfortable in my body. Corn is sexy. I don't know if I'm going to pull it up now. I'm just going to mention it. Did anyone see that video of that young boy being interviewed by someone and he was like talking about how much he loves corn? And he was like, I love corn. Just for like 2 solid minutes. You know, I never watched the Clone Wars. Oh my gosh. Fucked a girl in an apple orchard, then came inside her. Yeah, I haven't, I've never roasted corn, I don't think, myself. That's an interesting concept. I have an air fryer, so I like to roast vegetables in the air fryer. It's pretty convenient. Well, do I have anything really serious to talk about today? We have one serious topic. Actually, I saw a Twitter thread that I might check out that was in addition to everything that I mentioned on the Discord. If you're ever wanting to get notifications, by the way, if you're not in the Discord, you can be in there because I drop a notification about within an hour before we start stream, and then another one when we do actually start stream. Guess I'll only be cis when I pass as both male and female simultaneously. Yep, unfortunate. It's true you need dysphoria to be trans, so once you transition far enough to be comfortable, you are cis now. Exactly, yes. I'll only be cis when I pass as a boy, girl, faggot, bunny or something. I know. It's the worst. It's the great thing about being me, I guess, is that while I'm like, I want a dick, but I'm not actually dysphoric in particular about not having one, so... I'm omnigender, so I am cis and trans at the same time. True. Boy, girl, and shark lava. Oh my gosh, okay. New regulations, along with TERFs denying biological facts, is hurting genetics research. Genetic counseling for expectant couples is being reduced as well. Really? Preventable birth defects will be more common to the detriment of all. I hadn't heard about any of that stuff going on. Genetic counseling for expectant couples being reduced. I guess I'm not totally sure what all would go into that. Yeah, Ramya in the YouTube chat, isn't dysphoria subjective? I thought not all trans people get it. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing too. Like, if you're comfortable in skin in the first place as a trans person who'd like, I don't like, who's not interested in transitioning or whatever. It would be pretty rad to have a cock. Yeah, true. Exactly. It would just be pretty fucking rad. Oh no. Is there really a Shark Boy and Lava Girl grown-up movie? Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate it. Glad to have you in here. I like having like a nice chill stream, okay? Oh my god. Ugh. Okay. I realized all of my dysphoria post-E just comes from my downstairs. Oh yeah. It's frustrating when you're like, you solve one dysphoria problem and then suddenly it makes it clear that you have another dysphoria problem. Like, oh my god, excuse me. A lot of people say they get their top surgery and then they're more like aware of their hip dysphoria after that. For example, because now suddenly you can see everything and like this thing is like, this problem is solved. They didn't get Taylor Lautner. Oh no. Too famous now. Well, that's a bummer. If they argue that life starts at conception and they give personhood to fetuses, it limits what you can do to fetuses medically. What if it dies? Is there like, are we at the point where like in vitro fertilization shit is being limited? Because like that's literally how, if a couple like are using assisted fertilization techniques, you literally take like multiple eggs out and you fertilize multiple eggs and then you put in the one that seems like it's gonna survive. So literally the process of doing in vitro fertilization causes like multiple deaths if you're going off of like, as soon as the egg and the sperm touch, it's a human. Life starts before conception. Sperm and ova are living cells. Exactly. Yes, conservatives have to stop jacking off. True. Shark Boy and Lava... Shark Lava and Boy Girl fan art. Oh, geez. That's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna watch Shark Boy and Lava Girl for the nostalgia. My housemate from his room. Boy Girl and Shark Lava. So gender fluid teen superhero with a pet lava shark. Boy Girl and Shark Lava. Very nice. Let me turn this off. Don't need this open right now. Yes. I know that some conservatives probably actually want to ban jerking off. I bet they probably... There's got to be someone. Oh my gosh. Gonna start putting every bedroom under surveillance to make sure nothing creepy happens? Yeah. I mean, you don't have a right to privacy. The Constitution does not have a right to privacy. I was thinking about this earlier before stream started. I was thinking about how the like original will of the founders can be interpreted. Like, you know, you have a constitutional protection against unreasonable search and seizure, or like, you know, warrantless search and seizure. But like, why would your Facebook telecommunications be protected? There's no way that the founders could possibly have intended that to be what, like, part of what they meant by an unreasonable search. Like, and also, like, in one esoteric way, like, a seizure, well, it can't really be a seizure of anything because it doesn't physically exist. Like, I'm just imagining the stupid bullshit ways in which you could be like, oh, well, the specific wording of the Constitution doesn't allow for your right to digital privacy. Exactly, Sarah, that too. Like, why should anyone care what a bunch of slaveholders thought? Like, people just think like, oh, They were the best and smartest at building a government, and we certainly cannot think of any more ideas now about how to do it. The founders' intentions, they disagreed with each other almost as much as we do. Yep. Life begins at carbon atoms. Stop burning coal and fossil fuels. Oh, goodness. Boy-girl can be canonically intersex if everyone's fine with that. I think that we need more intersex representation. We need positive intersex representation. I know, Demonia. Why are Americans so weird about the Constitution? It's so strange. Oh my gosh, Technadium, you're not wrong. Republicans do love the, they do love the she-male porn too much to ban masturbating. If conservatives ban jacking off, it's only to put on an air of religiosity. What they really care about is preserving whiteness, since that is in the minority more and more each day. I mean, you're not really wrong about that. It is ultimately, they want to increase white birth rates. So they will refuse to sterilize a white woman who wants to be sterilized, but they will offer sterilization as a first resort to a Native American woman who has like a reproductive problem that could be solved another way first, you know? Is that why they think it's a fetish thing? Because they can only associate us with porn? I mean, so it is true that for a long time, the best, like most accessible trans representation has been through pornography. You know, it's not like we have representation of trans people as politicians up until very recently, or trans people as CEOs, or trans people as religious leaders, you know, like, so for the most part, you see trans people in this sexualized context. And if we are in movies, we are also going to be put in this sexualized context. I've seen people also say that, like, for trans women in particular, it's quite difficult because like trans women have the problem of like being seen as men insofar as men are sexually aggressive, but they're also seen as women in that women are always sexually available. So trans women kind of get caught up in this specific issue where they're seen as both like always sexually available and also always sexually aggressive, which is why most trans women, like most chasers who go after trans women, the kind of messages I see from them are like, you know, basically the men sissifying themselves and being like, will you fuck me, mommy? Like, you know, they really want to be topped by a trans woman because of that dichotomy that they're kind of stuck in there. It's unique. Tranny isn't even an offensive slur to me. She-male, on the other hand, is. I kind of feel like I would get away with saying she-male in a context where I wouldn't get away with saying tranny, although they're both obviously not great. Chasers rise up. That feel when, like, I also see a lot of trans women talk about, like, oh, I was afraid that I was a chaser, and then I realized that I was a trans woman, and then I transitioned, and now I am proudly a chaser. When you're T for T, I guess, you know. Religious leader, wasn't there a tale about a female pope who lived as a man? I had never heard of that before, Sarah, but I'm sure that there have been religious leaders. Like, there was the universal friend. I know I'm like missing a word on that. There was a Quaker who was like a non-binary person, quite famous. The universal public friend. Thank you. I knew I was missing a word. And I think that they were a like religious leader in Quakerism, but like not in the modern day, you don't frequently see trans people in positions of authority and power. How is the stream quality for everybody, by the way? I just want to check in because it's been almost an hour and I'm streaming in 1080 for the first time because the last time I was looking in the wrong segment of Streamlabs. I was looking in like stream and output, but the subsection called video was where I needed to update. Surprised that the camera hasn't cut out yet. Countdown. Countdown. Quakers are, I believe, officially called the Society of Friends. Yeah, I do believe so. I follow Jessica Kelgren Fozard, who talks about her Quakerism sometimes. And I believe she has a video about the Public Universal Friend. Damon Garcia also, apparently, according to Faith by Faith, has a video about the Public Universal Friend. Ramya says, in places like Afghanistan and Italy, there are women who were coerced by their families to dress and be like men because the families did not have male heirs. Any thoughts on that? I feel like doing that is like just as fucked up as like, you know, forcing a young trans girl to cut her hair and stuff like that. Like, I just think you should never forcibly transition someone. That is insane. Jesse Gender made an in-depth video on the hypersexualization of trans people, by the way. That's cool. I just followed Jesse Gender and watched one of her videos, so I should probably start watching more of them. Lux looking luminous. Oh my god. Thank you. I was gonna shower last night, but the last time my husband took a shower, the fucking shower head like broke, so I ordered a new one on Amazon and it will be here tomorrow, and then I will be able to wash my hair. Oh my god. I'm not sure how long the UK's first out trans MP is going to last. Been involved in some scandal or something. Not up to date though. Phoebe G, are you referring to, there was a Tory MP who just recently came out and was like, I'm pre-transition and stuff, but I might be transitioning into a woman. Dude, shower's hard, I guess. Well, here's the thing. I knew that the shower was messed up. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm the one who messed it up while I was trying to install it, actually. And basically, like, the shower head, like, came off. It happened while I was showering once, too. But, like, the shower head just, like, came off. And then so the tube that's just there was just shooting water. When I was showering, I just turned the shower off and put the thing back on. And then continued showering at a lower water pressure. When it happened to my husband, he threw the shower head in the trash. So I have to buy another one. Quakers are cool and based. I agree. I think Quakers have a really cool way of doing weddings. And their beliefs are very good. At least in the modern era of what I understand about it now. Friendly reminder that one of the earliest references to SRS in history was a Roman empress attempting to commission several surgeons to give her a pussy. Yeah. We been here. We done been here for forever. Him versus the showerhead. Who won? You decide. I know. I was just like, why didn't you just stick it back on? That's what I did. I just like stuck it back on and then resumed showering at a lower water pressure because I assumed that the water pressure just like made it pop off of there. But whatever, it's fine. I bought a new one. Oh gosh. Why are all the public political trans women conservatives except for Chelsea Manning, I guess? Yeah, I don't think that Chelsea Manning is like I don't know, I guess she is kind of a public political figure. She's not a politician. But I don't know. That's a good fucking question. Like, like, all the trans women running for office, like Riley Grace Rochong is pretty conservative. And, well, I don't know. Like, Danica Roem is to the left. Yeah, okay, that's what I was about to say, Decoy Duck. The Roman Empress thing is so cool. I wish there had been books about historical trans people when I was little. I know. I wish that we could continue making good progress that way. You know, we need to write books for children, keep teaching the children, preserve our oral histories and stuff, you know? Well, I think we'll take a quick minute here to look at what was going on in Florida. We'll discuss. If you are here and you have not yet hit the like button, please consider hitting the like button. It's free and it helps the show. It brings more people in, which is good because this is my job and I love doing it. We're having a good time. A conservative minority has an easy time getting a platform. They legitimize bigotry. Listen, like, I wish that I made nearly as much money as I would make if I became a political pundit for the right. Like, I wish that I didn't have to, like, bend all of my morals. But I would have been so much better off financially if I were to be a shill and a grifter for the right. I think looking back on ancient history is fascinating as fuck because, like, Romans were just like us in a lot of ways. They just didn't have the same level of tech. The issues of today were the issues of back then. Do you mean like socially, or they are treacherous, Lux, the right will turn on you? Oh no, I know. Listen, yeah, like, I know. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I don't really know a lot about, like, what the Romans dealt with on a social level. That might be an interesting thing to learn about. If you become a right-wing trans grifter, I'll support you. Get the bag. Thanks, Technetium. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be like, trans kids don't deserve to transition. I still think I need to sit down and, like, when we're not on stream, sit down and record a video about that. Like, hey, just speaking to you as an adult who was a trans child. Trans kids deserve to transition. Let's just, like, appeal to that humanity. Probably wouldn't get any more than my videos usually make, which is like a couple thousand views, but would be good. It would at least make me feel better to have it out of my system. I think ultimately that's, like, the reason I do things. Sometimes I'm like, I just need to get this out of my system. Whether it's a successful video or not, it just needs to be out there. Yeah, Ramya says, children definitely deserve to know that being queer is okay. There is so little literature for kids on the topic, even more so for transgender fluid and non-binary kids. And yeah, the teachers are like, we're going to remove these very few books from the classroom now because the Don't Say Gay bill threatens to make us lose all of our funding. It's easy to see how an American could relate to with Rome when they read about it, because Rome was the U.S. of its day, down to the imperialism and slavery. Did they have, like, the increasing class disparity? Like, the increasing wealth disparity like we do? I mean, obviously, our system is much more advanced in terms of how far that disparity is growing. Imagine temporarily detransitioning to raise money as a grifter, then use the money to retransition and get FFS. Unethical life pro tip. Listen, if I publicly detransitioned and was like, these medications are bad for children, and like did a whole bunch of bullshit and lied and made enough money to get a dick, I would absolutely, I mean, that would be, like, hilarious. It would be like, I don't know, like, and what if I did that in public too? What if I was publicly like, by the way, I lied. Like, most of these detransitioners are liars, and by the way, I have a dick now, you know? That would be hilarious. Reject modernity, return to ancient tradition, take civil rights away from bottoms. Okay, so ancient Rome did have the increasing wealth disparity. That's pretty fun. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed for the eventual dick. You know, I would already have a GoFundMe started for the eventual dick surgery if I wasn't pretty sure that I was also going to need a GoFundMe in order for the moving to another state issue. So I'll hold off. I'll hold off on the dick GFM. Okay, let's see. I know that we had a couple links posted up in the Discord server about this, and I opened up a link about it as well, so we'll look a little bit at what's going on in Florida. It really just feels like Florida is it's the flagship of the United States anti-trans war that has been started. It's a culture war, and they are waging it against us, and it does not feel very good, if we're being honest. Which, as you know, I normally am not, which is why I had to specify. It's like, were you not being honest before you said to be honest? No. Dicks everywhere. True. DeSantis is an actual competent fascist. Yeah, I think that's the issue. Hopefully the moving to another state will solve the dick through public insurance. Maybe. The issue with the Medicaid thing is you run into the same limitations with Medicaid as you do with any other insurance, which is like, oh, only certain doctors take this insurance. You know, so I refuse to be funneled to a specific surgeon who I don't trust or who I don't like their work or who doesn't have a good reputation because of insurance. Like, I will wait and do it all out of pocket and beg for money for years if I have to. I'm not going to get a subpar result from a surgeon that I don't want to go to. So that's just me, though. I'm thinking mostly the hopefully moving to another state will solve the, being in Kansas problem that I have. It's going to be hard to resist staying here because of how cheap it is to live here if we do end up flipping this state. Because as we discussed in our last stream when we were talking about the results of the abortion amendment vote, there are a pretty significant number of progressives here. Like 2.2 million adults total in Kansas. 900,000 voters turned out for that vote. And 542,000 of those votes were to protect abortion. So we have like a quarter of the entire adult population in Kansas could potentially flip this state blue, or at least turn it purple, which would be really interesting. What state are you thinking? I'm probably going to move to Washington. Ultimately, I would like to move to Canada, and Vancouver is a pretty nice place, so I figured I'd move to Washington, be near some of my friends, and in a progressive state. You could like lead the charge of turning the US around if Kansas does go blue and you stay there. Nope. Like, I'm not, I'm done. It's like, it's like the United States and I have been in a relationship and it's been complicated for a while, but I'm done. It's not me, it's her, I'm in Vancouver at the moment, so I hope you can make it here soon. It's very nice. Ugh, it sounds incredible. My hand-eye coordination is shot because eyes swollen shut. Oh my gosh, Corberry. No. I understood what you were trying to say. There are some YouTubers from Vancouver, right? I'm not sure. I think that Lance from the Surfs lives in Vancouver. I'm not totally sure, though. If you end up near the northeast corner of Washington, I'd love to say hello. I'm more keen to be near Seattle because I know a good chunk of people who live over there. But we talked about that a lot at the end of last stream, so I won't get too much into it here now. Oh no, listen, I know Vancouver is an expensive place to live too. Yeah. it's going to be difficult enough to move from here to Washington because of the difference in prices on stuff, you know. It like sucks when you're like, oh dang, my partner and I were on our way to like trying to buy a house maybe, and instead we are probably going to have to accept like living in maybe like the same kind of apartment situations, or maybe even a smaller apartment or whatever, like, because we're political refugees. Great. Anyway, the ability to tough it out for electoral reasons is a privileged one, IMO. Yeah, I'm like not gonna sit around and wait for them to pass a federal anti-abortion legislation. Like, it's going to happen. Hoping for your success in streaming, because we need another lefty queer lefty streamer from Seattle who uses White Leaf. I mean, listen. There aren't enough of us, okay? And at least I won't be from Seattle for long. Being in a relationship with America is like being around an on again, off again toxic BF. True. Which other one is Seattle? It's not a dig, by the way. I thought you were maybe doing a little bit of a dig. Just a tiny bit. Oh, Zirzix, you're doing fine over on the YouTube chat and everything, but I have a website. If you've ever been curious, like, what the fuck is going on with this chat, because it clearly doesn't coincide with the chat that you're seeing on YouTube, it's because this is my website chat. White Leaf is the name of the network. Like this one person built the website framework, and it's called White Leaf. So if you ever want to join this chat, click the top link in the description. Vosh lives in Seattle. Demon Mama lives in Seattle. Conyer obviously lives in Seattle because Conyer is Vosh's roommate. And Xanderhall is going to move to Seattle. So, yep. It's not my fault Seattle is a nice place to live. You have nice colors going on with it? Yeah, I have it on it's agender colors. Someone sent me off of my Amazon wish list the agender pride flag, which I really appreciate. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I was like, maybe I should take down the non-binary flag and put the agender flag there instead, but I don't know. I haven't decided what to do with it. Oh god, they were roommates. I mean, they actually are roommates. Ooh, Artemis in the YouTube chat says, moving to Canada to avoid future anti-trans stuff that will affect us adults. Got my passport already and will begin by this December. I have the paperwork over here that I need to fill out to start the passport process. This past month was really rough financially. So I think if I make the same amount of money this month as I made last month, I'll be better off because of, you know, the whole, Lucy dying problem. But I have enough money to pay off that debt. I just need to do that this week. I thought that was your Twitch chat. No, I don't have Twitch. I don't like Twitch. Twitch doesn't let you say slurs about yourself, so that's why I'm on YouTube. Even though YouTube is much worse for copyright shit. Very irritating how much they crack down on copyright stuff. Oh gosh, anyway, so I followed this person on Twitter. Sorry, this button. This is the right button. Elijah Manley is running for House of Representative. So I'm following him. He is from Florida. Against the consensus of the medical community. Him? Was that right? He/they. Okay. Against the consensus of the medical community and the American Association of Pediatrics, Florida's Board of Medicine has voted to accept the state's petition to ban gender-affirming care as it exists and essentially force detransition on transgender youths in the state. Just to clarify, this is not a ban. This is the start of the rulemaking process moving forward. So this hasn't actually changed anything as of yet in Florida, but it is the first step required to just making it unacceptable. We've already covered this general, like this type of stuff happening in Florida. We know that they're trying to change the statewide standards of care to make it to where, you know, Medicaid, for example, wouldn't cover any hormones or trans care anymore because, like, oh, well, the state's official opinion is that this is experimental and potentially harmful and not the actually, like, recommended means of caring for this condition. There were protests happening during this meeting. There was a die-in where these people are, you know, like, it's like a die-in is where they all lie down and they have these, like, gravestone signs, and it's representing all of the hold on 1 second. I'm having a fucked up day and I keep crying. It represents, like, the actual bodies that will be created by the legislation, essentially. It's like representing, like, here's what it actually is going to be like when there are just dead bodies as a result of this. So die-ins are really interesting. These queers bash back. There was a lot going on. A lot of good signs. Science sides with trans people. True. It just really sucks. Like, I don't even know that I have a lot of commentary to add to this right now because I'm just really upset by it. I'm like, every trans kid in Florida deserves better. I know trans adults who live in Florida, and it's not like just because their healthcare isn't going to be directly affected by this doesn't mean that it isn't, like, still really upsetting and harmful to like constantly be receiving the message that you are unwanted in your country, in your state, like that people in power and regular people don't care about you. Like, they think that you're a bad person fundamentally. So I feel like I am personally definitely suffering from that. Like, I'm not necessarily doing enough to counteract it with the feeling like shit thing. What's the point of life if you can't say slurs? True. Do you follow the trans drag queen, maybe a girl who's running for Congress? No, I don't know about this trans drag queen who's running for Congress. That sounds incredible, though. Did I have a link open about this? Yes. Yeah, the medical board votes to review rules on transgender treatment for children. The board voted on Friday to start the process of rulemaking. No rules have been changed as of yet, but they will start the process of gathering data and speaking with experts to find a standard of care that they agree with. The Florida... What is DOH? I don't know what DOH stands for. They said treatments such as puberty blockers and hormone therapy can have adverse health repercussions, which include cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, infertility, increased risk of cancer, and thrombosis. So it's worth acknowledging this point because infertility is a given. Obviously, if you're seriously concerned about infertility, there are ways of preserving people's fertility. It's fine. Don't worry about it. When we are talking about a change in risk for cardiovascular disease and thrombosis and other stuff like that, the only thing that happens here is that your risk assumes the risk of like the cisgender population with the same hormone makeup. So, like, if you're a trans woman, you start off like with the same risk of cardiovascular disease as cis men if you have a bunch of testosterone in your body. When you start taking Spiro and estrogen, or whatever hormone blocker you're on, plus estrogen, or just estrogen or whatever, you resume the cardiovascular disease risk, or you assume the cardiovascular disease risk of cisgender women. So if the risk goes up, then it's because women have more cardiovascular disease risk on average than men. That's why. And osteoporosis can happen if you're on puberty blockers for a very long time. We know about that. That's why it's good to, let kids start cross-sex hormones so that they can develop at the same time as their peers. What a shocking concept. The department's guidelines are as follows. Social gender transition should not be a treatment option for children or adolescents. So this is like, just to be clear, like that's part of what makes this so alarming, is that it's against social transition, which means that like this could become so specifically enforced that like if a young girl wants to get a haircut that's short, I don't know, like if she's like playing softball in the summer and her long hair gets in the way, so she wants to cut her hair so that she can go play a sport that other girls play, that might be cause for an investigation potentially. If they make it to where, as they've done in Texas, where this is like child abuse, tantamount to child abuse, cutting a little girl's hair could put you under suspicion for gender transing your child. It also says that anyone under 18 years should not be prescribed puberty blockers or hormone therapy. Of course, I'm sure that they're gonna, well, they better carve out exceptions for precocious puberty. I don't know why they wouldn't. Gender reassignment surgery should not be a treatment. Wait, what? Gender reassignment surgery should not be a treatment option for surgery. I must assume that that's a typo. Children and adolescents should be provided social support by peers and family and seek counseling from a licensed provider. See, the official position of the state of Florida is that you should put your children through conversion therapy rather than affirm their gender. Cute. So, oh yeah, and of course, yeah, they've always got the exceptions. These guidelines do not apply to procedures or treatments for children or adolescents born with a genetically or biochemically verifiable disorder of sex development. So we can forcibly correct intersex kids all we want, but trans kids are not allowed to exist. This is why I don't care to try to fix things. Kat Black has been saying it for a while. She's like, she doesn't have any particular desire to be politically active because she's like, no, people just kind of want us dead, and there's not really a good way to convince them. What's the link for this article? Hold on, let me grab that for you. There you go, soy boy. Will my haircut be illegal someday? Time will tell. True. Maybe for Congress. We did it. 2022, Progressive Democrat for California's 30th District. Vote yes on MABA if you believe in universal healthcare, housing for all, education for all, environmental justice, racial justice, LGBTQI rights, reproductive rights, abolishing ICE, and no more wars. It's a nice little website. I like her color scheme, this nice soft purple. So she's running under her drag name, Maybe a Girl. That's pretty funny. Like, I cannot argue with the fact that that's pretty funny. And you can't convince those assholes, but you and others convinced many fence sitters. I mean, yeah. I can do that from somewhere else, though. It will be funny when the TERFs start getting flagged for being too boyish. I think that there are already situations where, I don't know if it has happened to any TERFs yet. I know that TERFs have been locked out of like that female-only dating app, but I don't know if they've been kicked out of any bathrooms or anything like that. Yeah, we covered that female only dating app. It used facial recognition and it locked out the TERFs because that was the purpose of the app. It's like lesbians need a place to date only other females, you know. But yeah, trans women were getting in and TERFs were getting locked out of it. It's pretty funny. Pretty hilarious. I am not drinking enough water. I'm like talk, not drink enough water. Yeah, Baphomet. Yeah, I'm for conversion therapy. I'm for Biden opening conversion camps to turn cis guys into cat girls. Hail hydrate. Hello, Silent. Drink more water. I know, I gotta drink more water. I need to fill my water cup, probably. Hydrate or die straight. Oh my god, no. No. Hey, we need cat boys too. I know, listen, I know it. Being trans isn't your choice. It's mine. You're trans now. What was the joke we had last time? We were talking about gender anarchy, and someone was like, gender authoritarianism. Everyone must be trans. What about puppy girls? We can do puppy girls are good. The resurgence of puppy girls has been really coming through. Did Vosh make puppy girls into a thing, or did he merely predict that that's how things were gonna go? Because I remember him talking about, he was like, cat girls are fine, but puppy girls are much better. Like a year or two ago, and now I see puppy girls all over the place. Cat girls became oversaturated. I know. Once Natalie did her Natalie character, that's when you knew that when the boomers appropriate the memes, that's when you know it's over. I'm joking. Natalie's not a boomer. I'm making a joke about Natalie being a boomer and mainstream recuperation of memes. Anyway, I remember him talking with Natalie about it. Yeah, the puppy girls thing. That was a while ago. I don't know if Vosh said anything. I just follow puppy girls on Twitter. Artemis says, more of a dog person myself. Love larger dogs. Sus. I could get into puppy girls. I'd love to get into a puppy girl. Also, Smuggy, sometimes I make a remark that's like really fucking funny, and I'm like, I wish that I had like the ability to see reactions in person, because the thing that I just said is very funny. Real talk, bunny boys are better than cat boys, are better than bunny girls, are better than puppy girls, are better than cat girls, are better than puppy boys. Bunny boys are at the top of the hierarchy then? Will there now be a Contra woof? Potentially. I just like, as a dragon, I just like I'm curled up on a pedestal or like a cliff somewhere, and I'm observing all of this furry talk, you know? True, Ariel, what happened to femboy foxes? Sparky Pete says, just wanted to check in and give my like on the video today, but busy so I can't stay in chat. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, Sparky Pete. Sparky Pete. I appreciate that. You like just come in, swoop in, hit the like button, and get the fuck out of here. We appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. You and your mammalian-centric tier list. Oh my god, excuse me. Ah. I wanted to get into Final Fantasy XIV because they recently added bunny boys to the game, and I want to be a bunny boy. I was talking about Final Fantasy XIV with Silent yesterday, and she was like, you probably don't want to play it if you didn't like how much you had to pay attention to the dialogue in Star Wars The Old Republic. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do it. Don't want it. Femboy foxes, they all turned out to be racist. No! No! Was it the femboy foxes? It's always the femboy foxes who are in the Nazi fursuits. Oh my god. Where do unseelie girls rank, out of curiosity? That is a good question. What did the fox say? Apparently something really bad about black people? All the femboy foxes? I hope it wasn't all the femboy foxes. Here's the thing. If I wasn't a dragon, I would probably be a fox. Like, fox is definitely something that has a strong pull for me. And I would be a femboy fox because I am a femboy. Cis femboys are the weakest link. I followed this femboy blacksmith guy and then he posted a selfie with Count Dankula. Oh no! There's one femboy fox on Twitter who I'm pretty sure is very much not racist. I guess I can have more than one persona, right? So I could be a dragon and also a fox. Still a mermaid. I don't really get mermaids as much. I mean, I get it, but I don't. It's not like for me. Technically, I am a trans dragon, but I don't care much about the title. Nice. LMAO, gonna cry now. Foxies or Nazis cannot take foxes from me. No, they can't. They can't have it. That's why I was like, are there a bunch of femboy foxes who are Nazis? Because if that's the case, then I need to be a femboy fox who's not a Nazi as representation. Clearly, I need more furries and furry-adjacent people in my friend group. I think we actually have a channel in the Discord for furry stuff. Not because we don't want to encourage furry conversation in the general channels, but to just make it easier to find. Juniper Fox says, as a femboy fox, I will not allow the Nazis to take that. We gotta keep our representation going. Oh gosh. There's a weird overlap between femboy enthusiasts and Nazis. It's like, are femboy enthusiasts like... I really don't understand it. I was about to make some wild speculations, but I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that today. Ooh. I should team up with some anti-fascist bloodhound puppy girls to deal with this Nazi foxboy problem. I know, true, true. Vosh right now? Wait, what? What about Vosh right now? Oh... It's annoying how often I'm in the middle of trying to fucking stream and the internet decides to just like log me off of my Google account. It's like, I'm literally on stream. Please don't fuck up my stream by logging me out of my Google account. Thank you. Jesus. It makes sense that you have some fascists who are into sissification. They just like it in a toxic way, I guess. I honestly think that they like forced feminization and stuff because of their weird, shitty belief system, you know? You found the one non-fascist femboy fox. Their Twitter is like 100% NSFW, though. It's like, I didn't even know until this stream where y'all are telling me that femboy foxes are notoriously Nazis. I had no idea. Oh, after hearing that femboy enthusiasts are Nazis, yeah. Also, Vosh is attracted to horses, not femboys. I think he can be into both, you know? ¿Por qué no los dos? And he likes horses because he likes the idea of having a horse cock. That's not the same thing as thinking that horses are hot. You know what I mean? Like, what if I had a 1.5 foot long dick, you know? Horse dicks is pretty... I don't think that he is attracted to the horse cock. I think that it's more about, like, liking the idea of having a horse cock. Although I guess either way. It would be a lot to haul around, true. With phalloplasty, whatever size dick you have is the size dick you have, you know? If you have, like, a 6 or 7 inch dick, it is just 6 or 7 inches in your pants at all times. It is a shower. It is a 100% of the time it's a shower. Imagine if horses understood this conversation. No more horses. You don't exist at all. You know? With the H-Bomber guy references. Once again, reiterating, phalloplasty should be available in horse size and shape, and dog size and shape, and dolphin size and shape, etc. What's up, Nuvenol? you know. I don't really follow Vosh, so I just hear these weird snippets about him via other streams. That's fucking perfect. That's hilarious and perfect. I mean, you know, don't let yourself catch like a really negative opinion of him just because a lot of people say negative shit about him. But like, that's fucking hilarious. He's like a mythic character for you at this point. It's like, I heard that he likes horse cocks. I mean, some people say he's a pedo. I don't really know what the fuck that's coming to. Like, I guess, like, does he like newborn horses? Is that the problem? Like... I feel like people hate Vosh for the sake of hating Vosh. I mean, I think that it is a, I don't know. It's like it's something that you virtue signal with. You know, I don't like Vosh. You take a stance. Oh no, don't clip me when I said I don't like Vosh. No. Has anybody seen The Spoils of Babylon? That's a complete aside. Clipped, I know. Vosh, average full enjoyer. I swear I saw a porn with him in it. I mean, I know that Vosh's nudes are just on the internet apparently, so I don't think that there's a porn, but I know that there's pictures. Horse dicks are, how would you even, I mean, but why? I mean, the weird thing about horse dicks is how flat they are at the end. Like, they're like flat at the end. So it's like, it usually works better if there's like a tapered end. You know, it goes in a little bit easier if it's tapered rather than it being just like a blunt end of a, you know, it's like this isn't even as big around as a horsecock is. I'm pretty sure horsecocks are bigger around than this, but like, it's like buff, like just flat, like buh, I don't know. You need a little bit of flair, right? Horse dick is basically human dicks with a very flared and flat tip. Yeah, like, why is it... That hurts me just watching it. Exactly. You need... Where... Do I have anything that is more penis-like? In that it's more tapered? I don't know. I don't think I have anything around my desk that could be a good... Dog dicks are more interesting, IMO, than not. What's weird about both of them... I mean, I'm kind of like fascinated conceptually by animal penises that just go like all the way back up in the body when they're not being used. Do you know what I mean? Luxander looks around the room for penis-shaped items. True, Juniper. They're in the other room. Ever read about Mr. Hand? He's why it's illegal to do bestiality in Washington since 2005. No, I've never heard of Mr. Hand, Anansi. Do I want to know about this? Do I want to know? The flared tip and then not accomplish the same thing, right? Is it so that it stays inside there? Like, is that the point of it? So that it doesn't come out so easily? Weirdest dicks, ducks. True, ducks have the weirdest dicks. I made a joke post about nodding once and got called a zoophile. Little do they know I was talking about Dean Winchester. Oh no! Decoy duck. I feel called out. Ducks have the creepiest wieners. I mean, even if they weren't like weird looking, the fact that the duck penis is the way that it is because they're so rapey would make it creepy, you know? Only the ducks that have dicks have the weirdest dick. True. True. The animal kingdom isn't big on the idea of revoking consent. Yeah, that's why, like, cat penises are, like, spine covered or whatever. That moment when you look around your room and can't find a dick. I wouldn't have been able to show you if I had a dick in my hands. Here, this'll work. It works better if there's a taper, you know? It goes in easier if there's like a rounded end rather than like this, like boof. It's like, would you like to take a bottle of vitamins and shove it in your gooch, like just, you know? That hook though, it's plastic. It probably wouldn't feel good, but you don't put the hook end in, you put this end in. OMG, stop doing that. I'm sorry. Getting some neat imagery today. I know. This stream is gonna get flagged, you know? I've been doing crochet again. I'm not gonna show you it, but I am working on a I'm working on a crop top. Yeah, the gooch. New animal dick design dropped. Oh, what's up, Ghost Knot? Yeah, we're talking about animal dicks right now. We were talking about horsecock. Oh, what's up, Grady HD? We just had new people show up. Apparently, we had like a small burst of new people come in, and they came in while I was talking about horse dicks and shit. So I thought the gooch was like the taint. Yeah. I mean, it is. I just was saying I was gooch to refer to like any hole that you have back there, you know? But the gooch is the taint. Love showing up to random crap like this. I know. What if someone like raided over to me, you know? Like, you know, sometimes when Vosh gets done with his stream, he'll send his chat over to whoever. Like, I think it happened while Demon Mama was streaming last night. Voshites all showed up. Like, what if Voshites all showed up during my stream and I was in the middle of talking about dicks and like dog dicks and stuff? That could be fun. Oh, and yeah, Grady HD, I know they would love a horsecock discussion. They would come over here and be like, you've been talking about Vosh, I'm gonna tell. I'm still frustrated that WoW porn artists looked at like horse and dog phalluses and decided those can be applied to literally anything. Well, so here's the thing. Draenei have horse dicks for a good reason. It's because they are like hoofed aliens. I mean, I guess it would kind of make more sense for them to have like a goat dick. But them having horse dicks like makes some amount of sense. They're hoofed aliens. No, I know Vosh talks about that stuff all the time. Yeah. Now explain Tauren. Do they... I guess, yeah, like... I don't know what cow penises look like, to be fair. I have no idea what cow penises look like. And there's that, there's like a different race of Tauren, like a cousin race of Tauren that are like moose. There's like moose Tauren. What do moose penis looks like? Very different than horse cocks. Okay, fair. Are they way small? Because if they're way small, then I think that it makes sense to put a horse cock on a Tauren, you know? Yes, yeah, the buffalo Tauren. Or is it buffalo, not moose? Oh, it's the moose ones that are playable. The buffalo Tauren. Wait, I thought that you could play the Tonka now. Because now World of Warcraft has, like, you have to unlock new races. The moose ones are playable. The Tonka aren't. I understand. For feck's sakes, y'all gonna make me make some cursed Google searches. We're just talking about races from World of Warcraft, you know? Like, the Tauren are cow people. You know, it's like a big lumbering cow person with a cow face and, like, horns. And they're like, brr, 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 and they got hoofs. But they have boobies up here and not on their belly, you know? It's bullshit that Tonka aren't an allied race. They're literally recruited into the Horde in Wrath. Well, they got the Moose Tauren in Horde. You can't have too many playable races at a certain point. It gets... like, each race has to have different racial abilities. It gets really fucked up. I love the little foxes, but they have such shitty racial abilities. They just have no useful racial abilities. Grady HD says, I'll continue my day not searching what random animal genitalia look like. True. No, Volpera suck. They have bad racial abilities. They're cute, but they have no utility. I gotta get off of this subject before we lose everyone bitching about WoW. So? Do you really use your Hearthstone more than once an hour? Okay, I guess. I guess. High Mountain Tauren are the moose ones. They're just regular Tauren that got a blessing from Cenarius to have moose antlers. Why are they a different race then? With different racial abilities, and also they're on the Horde. How does that make sense? Or are they on the Horde? Aren't they? I thought that I didn't unlock very many of the Alliance ones because I don't like playing Alliance. Anyway. Okay, they are Horde. Okay. I don't want to stay on this subject too much. I want to look at this tweeter thread that I was looking at earlier. Okay, they were on a separate island for a long time and developed a distinct culture. I see. I was looking at a Twitter link that was about Breonna Taylor's killers. Did I not keep track of the fucking thing? Where is it? I made a joke today on Twitter. I was like, the existence of top and bottom surgery implies the existence of strange surgery and charm surgery. Anyone want to go dig a hole in some sand to keep our eggs just the right temperature? No repto, though. I just read an article that was saying that in Florida, for the past 4 years, there haven't been any male turtles born because of the temperatures of the sand. Like, it's not cool enough for male turtles to be born. What about middle surgery? I was making a joke about quarks. Quarks are a fundamental constituent of matter observed in 1968 through deep elastic scatter. Just gonna have Hank Green songs stuck in my head now. Up, down, strange charm, top, bottom. If you don't know what a quark is, it don't matter, you still got 'em. But with leptons and bosons, unless something's amiss, they make up everything that we can see and that we know exist. Strangeness and Charm, this song from Florence and the Machine. Okay. Are there scaly WoW races? Not yet. There are no scaly WoW races. Wait, the Naga are playable? No, the Naga are not playable. No playable races. Okay. I'm close to 2 people who knew famous police shooting victims. Wow. I want a female belly button. What about middle surgery? Wait, are the Zandalari trolls scalies? Oh, yeah, you can turn into a raptor as your like travel form as a druid, I think, or something like that. Anyway, I was trying to find, I was reading this thread earlier about Breonna Taylor's killers and the police and how everything has been really suspicious about their investigation. Let's see. 3 of the killers are getting federal charges. Holy shit. Okay, yes, this is the thread that I was looking at. Some pretty dark stuff was uncovered when reviewing the indictment of the officers in the Breonna Taylor case. Let's go ahead and increase the size of this a little bit. Joshua Janes and Kyle Meany applied for a search warrant under the penalty of perjury. In that search warrant, they made 3 false allegations. The first being that Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend was receiving packages to her home, and that he lived in her residence, and that the post office had confirmed that fact. They allegedly did these things with the knowledge that the execution of the no-knock warrant could cause danger to Taylor, the officers, and third parties. When confronted with an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the warrant in the wake of Taylor's death, Meany and Janes attempted to cover it up by asking other officers to say that they told the officers this false information. In fact, these officers had been told affirmatively that Taylor's ex-boyfriend did not live there and was, not receiving packages there. Meany and Janes wrote an investigative letter restating the falsehoods anyway. Then, Janes met up with another officer in his garage to discuss how they needed to get their story straight about the lies they were putting in the warrant affidavit. There are allegations that this conversation was recorded. Interesting. I wonder if it can be entered in evidence, because I know that different states have different laws about whether something that was recorded without knowledge can be entered into evidence. Then, Janes and Meany allegedly lied to the FBI about the lies in the search warrant affidavit and the subsequent cover-up. They told the FBI that they'd heard the boyfriend got packages delivered to Taylor's home, despite knowing that that was false. And then Officer Brett Hankerson was indicted for deprivation of the rights of Breonna Taylor, her boyfriend, and the neighbors in the apartment complex. After plainclothes officers entered Taylor's home in the middle of the night, her boyfriend shot once, hitting an officer. Officers then shot back from inside the apartment. Hankerson exited the apartment and began to shoot into the glass door that was covered with blinds. Allegedly, Hankerson shot towards other officers and into the apartments of the neighbors, shooting blindly in the night. The murder of Breonna Taylor was horrific, but the cover-up is the most angering. How much of Daniel Cameron's refusal to properly investigate this case has perpetuated the continuing injustice to Breonna Taylor? I don't know if we ever will. And then we have some links, which are very useful. This YouTuber covered it extensively. Oh, and also something about Alex Jones. I don't have a lot to say about Alex Jones, by the way. Whoa, shit, nope. That could be worth watching, except that it's 3 hours long, so maybe later. By the way, yeah, I haven't really been talking about the Alex Jones stuff, because, like, I don't have a lot to say. What state was this in? Yeah, what state was... I thought it was, like, North Carolina, maybe? Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky. I cannot for the life of me figure out why any police officer would make that kind of thing up. I mean, they were trying to get him, you know. They were trying to, like, they had some prior reason to try to get the boyfriend. So they were specifically trying to, like, they knew that he was staying there, because he was staying there, even though he wasn't residing there permanently, but they wanted to find him and arrest him. Well, the weird thing about this is that, like, you know, you say if they know he's not there, though, like, he literally was there. Or no, was it an ex-boyfriend? They were looking for the ex-boyfriend, and the current boyfriend was there with her. I think that's what actually ended up happening. Like, they were looking for someone that she wasn't dating anymore. But I think probably they had intel that, like, some black man was there. So they were probably like, oh, yeah, he's there. People are just lying, when it's actually, like, someone else. So, you know, wouldn't be surprised if this was a situation where it's, like, cops grab wrong black person. You know, like, they're pretty good at doing that. Yeah, you really think someone would do that? Just go into policing and tell lies? I can't imagine why they would do that. Why would they do such a thing? How could they do such a thing? No. Yeah, so I don't really know what to do with myself when we have issues like this, but I want to, like, the main thing that I want to do is do this MS Paint stream. So we're going to do that, but I definitely need to, like, get my throat to a place that makes more sense before we do an MS Paint stream, because, oh my god, it hurts. Oh, fair enough. Max says, something I vaguely heard on Tumblr a while ago was that Breonna Taylor had complained about the conduct of officers and that they used the X as an excuse because they had a vendetta against her specifically. I had not heard that. Do we have any Voshites here? You people go fucking apeshit over the MS Paint streams. We're gonna do our very first MS Paint stream here in a bit. I think I'm gonna take a break and go to the bathroom first and come back. And then we'll do our paint stream. Don't know if this is very interesting to you, Lux, but Montreal Pride was just canceled last minute at 9 a.m. the day of. What happened, Daniel? Wait, what happened? Montreal Pride canceled. Let's see if we can find anything. Montreal Pride Parade organizers cancel event citing lack of security. Pride Montreal says the city's iconic parade that closes the festival's celebration of LGBTQ communities has been canceled due to a lack of staff. The executive director, Simon Gamache, says the event scheduled for today was called off for security reasons. Pride Montreal issued a statement on Twitter saying it made the decision along with the support of city police because there were not enough volunteers to ensure safety along the parade route. What? Thousands of people were expected to march through the downtown core this afternoon. Pride Montreal says other activities are still set to take place at Olympic Park. Montreal Pride's parade has been celebrating the process of queer rights, diversity, and inclusion for the past 40 years. What? I mean, it makes sense that you're understaffed because everybody's understaffed because there's like multiple major sicknesses going around. But like, why? That's so strange. For security reasons. That's so vague. It's like, I wonder if they actually received like a bomb threat, but they just don't want to publicize that information because it's still so soon. Like, it's this literally today. This was published 3 hours ago. Here's one that was updated 41 minutes ago. Montreal Pride Parade organizer admitted they made a mistake when they canceled the event at the last minute. Gamache said when he learned at 8 a.m. they didn't have the resources to go ahead with the Pride Week highlight event. It was completely wrong on our part. We didn't ask for all the resources we need today. The biggest problem, he said, was that they did not plan appropriately to make the show. To hold a proper parade, the organizers needed about 200 volunteers, and they were missing about 80. Well, that sucks. Weren't enough staff to ensure security along the way. Why is the security of a parade being left to organizers? I thought that was the job of the police. You fucking useless pieces of garbage. We don't really know exactly why, but the organizers telling the police not to be in the parade itself in uniform. They say it's because of lack of volunteers. Oh, I wonder if the cops are like not wanting to provide security because they were like, we don't want you to be in the parade itself in uniform. As far as I'm concerned, a few thousand people can manage themselves. I don't actually know how much I trust huge groups of people. Like, I don't know. Do you all have very many mass shootings in Montreal? I don't know. The 2 white cops who shot Brianna are not amongst the 4 who are being charged. What? Of fucking course. Of fucking course. Bye, NBJ. See ya. These queers are being cop-phobic. Literally, though, like, you'll be like, I don't think that cops should be in the parade. And they'll be like, well, what if we just don't show up and see what happens? It's like, you really are gonna, like, leave people vulnerable to being murdered because you are butthurt that you don't get to walk in the parade? No, the last mass shooting was an incel who killed women for being in a STEM school decades ago. Okay, fair enough. There are usually also not very many mass shootings where I live. I think that is the one bad thing. Aside, I mean, there's like, obviously, the lack of air conditioning in most buildings is also another reason why moving to Washington would not be ideal. But the other thing about moving to Washington is that I think that in the Midwest, mass shootings are fairly uncommon, but they're more common on the coasts. So Like, I'm not that likely to end up in a mass shooting at the grocery store here, but it could technically be more likely if I lived in Seattle. Doesn't one of the cops have a book deal with the Blaze or TPUSA or whatever? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be motherfucking surprised. That's another great way to make money. Like, be a cop who shoots people and then receive accolades and money and book deals and political positions. Always great. You know, I learned something this week, and it's that you shouldn't post YouTube videos on Saturdays. Because I posted, like, my discussion of Kansas winning the abortion vote. Maybe the title and thumbnail weren't very good, but it's doing worse than the previous 10 videos that I've uploaded, so sad. Reptileverse says history is written by the victors. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. They can just, like, whitewash things. It's harder and harder now, though. Like, you know, before there wasn't, like, a record. It was hard. You know, first of all, information could be controlled and contained better than in the information age. So you could say, like, oh, the king was assassinated by our enemy from the West, when it was actually his son. But you don't know that. But nowadays, it's like, person filmed the king's son slipping poison into his drink, you know? You have a lot more evidence now. First mass shooting in Kansas was in 1930. The last was in 2017. What was I doing in 2017 that I don't remember hearing about it. I don't remember hearing about a mass shooting in 2017 in Kansas, but who knows what the fuck was going on at that time. Yeah, there's not many of them, though. It was called 12 Seconds in the Dark. The book from Breonna Taylor's murderer was called 12 Seconds in the Dark. Oh my god. It's because Kansas is boring. I was born there. Listen. I was born here too. I'm not going to say it's the most exciting place. Like, I'm more worried about getting shot by an individual person than getting in a mass shooting situation. We just don't have, like, there's no fucking culture war shit happening here. Searching Wiki got me 11 mentions of Kansas, and actually most of them came from the word Arkansas. We have people here. We have people here. Not like a lot, but we do have them. We have metropolitan areas in Kansas, okay? You realize that Kansas City, like a good chunk of it is in Kansas. I know a lot of it's in Missouri, but we have cities here. It was like we were watching Heroes. We're like rewatching Heroes for the first time in a long time. And we just like remembered like, oh, there's this. I know. I'm playing around with you, Anansi. We're watching Heroes, and this one character she's from Kansas. Like, I think she's from Lawrence, Kansas, which is a city. And they go to her house in the show, and it's literally in the middle of a fucking cornfield. I was like, no, that's not what it's like here. The only people I know from Kansas still personally are transphobic as shit. Yeah. I know that there's like a couple of really progressive areas in Kansas, and the area that I live in is relatively progressive. So, but you don't have to go far before you're like, I was like gonna go to an estate sale. I was like, oh, I'm like kind of driving around. I kind of want to go to this estate sale, but the estate sale took me far enough out in the country that I was like, I'm gonna turn around and go home and not go to this estate sale and risk getting fucking murdered. Oh, Reptileverse, you're in Ohio. It's so much worse in Ohio right now. It's like, I thought that Ohio was supposed to be a relatively liberal place, but no, Ohio is like almost as bad as Florida in terms of all this anti-trans shit. It's a fucking crazy... It's like just places that you wouldn't expect. You don't necessarily expect Kansas to like vote to protect abortion, but we did. You don't really expect, you don't really expect Ohio to be like shitty and like anti-trans, but there they are. It's very strange. There's exactly one small town in Kansas I'd be comfortable in, and it's fictional. Idaho is actually better than a fair amount of the country with regards to trans people. Not with black people, though. I'd get all kinds of hell for being black, but never got shit for being trans. That's exciting. Oh, Smallville, Kansas. I honestly think Smallville is supposed to be kind of like someplace like Lawrence. But I don't know. I didn't actually watch Smallville. Ohio's government hates trans people, but most people that aren't in government are okay. Yeah, I know some people who live in Ohio. It's not too bad. I live in Ohio, and we're transforming the entire world into Ohio. Oh, no. Oh, Smallville from the comics. I see. Yeah, you don't want to live in the same city as a superhero, though, because they attract supervillains. It tends to be a kind of fucked up area to be in, okay? Smallville is set in a nondescript Kansas, but Metropolis has a coast. I would bet that there are I'm sure that there are places where you could be like, there's an ocean and then you go inland a couple hundred miles and then there's like someplace like Kansas, you know? Metropolis is supposed to be an hour or so away from Smallville. You could potentially do it. I mean, I guess it would be kind of hard to do it without there being any visible ocean. I don't know. Finally getting to the practical advice part of the stream. True. Yeah, listen, do not move into Metropolis. Don't move to Gotham either. Holy shit, don't move to Gotham. They drive from one to the other all the time. Well, let me say, it could be further than an hour. From a Midwesterner who will... Listen, one time I went to a funeral on a Saturday. On Friday... See, we were on the overnight shift at the time. So we got off work on Friday morning and we drove 8 hours to go to Illinois to go to this funeral. And we slept a bit on Friday and then Friday night. And then on Saturday, we did this funeral. And then we drove back on Sunday so that we could work for the week. Like, I drove 16 hours in like 3 days to go to a funeral. So Midwesterners are kind of crazy. It's exceptional. Like, you don't really do that. You don't really do that very often. You don't have funerals to go to very often. Good fictional worlds to live in. I'm not familiar with Discworld. Is that Pratchett, though? Terry Pratchett? Okay, I'm going to go to the restroom really quick, and I'm going to come back. We'll kind of ease back into it, and then we're going to do our first MS Paint segment. That is the only other major thing I have planned for today. And it's going to be exciting. All right, I'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm gonna fill my water and then I'll be back. Okay. We are here. We are back. Oh my god, there's so many white names in chat right now. What's up, Vinny? Sorry, welcome in. Metropolis is in Kansas? Wait, what? Is there a coast? I thought that you said that there was a coast there. A 3-hour drive there and back from Metropolis to Smallville. Does Metropolis not actually have a coast? This is a rabbit hole. Yeah. I don't think DC Comics make sense. I don't think DC Comics are supposed to make sense. All right. Yes, there's a coast in Metropolis. It can't be Kansas as we perceive it to be. It cannot be that. In the TV show, they're 100 miles apart. In the comics, Smallville is in Kansas, but Metropolis is on the East Coast and often across a bay from Gotham. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Silent. Reptileverse says, I feel so uncultured into the LGBT stuff. I only know the acronyms up to the A's, which seems bad since I'm an LGBT author. What else is there? LGBTQIA. What else is there after that? I know sometimes there's a number 2 for Two-Spirit Native American people. I don't perceive Kansas. Well, that's fine, Grady HD. Kansas doesn't perceive you either. It's like, that's like when you're like, I don't believe in God, and a Christian's like, what if God doesn't believe in you? And you're like, oh, okay. Like, all right, uh-oh. Oh, gosh. Plus. Well, I know there's a plus. The plus is just for, like... I just meant, like, if there are any more... added to the end of there. Oh, Reptileverse says, I mean, like, every time I'm on TikTok, I hear people using demo, omni, and gynosexual, and I have zero clue what those are. I've never heard demo before. I've heard demisexual. Demisexual is like, it's considered on a scale of asexuality. So, like, allosexual would be what we consider normal, like someone with a sexual attraction that includes like romantic attraction and they want to kiss and they want to have sex and everything. Asexual people might still have sex, but they're not like really sexually attracted to any particular group. Like they're not really sexually motivated toward any particular group. So demisexual is kind of in between those two, where it's like you only feel sexual motivation toward people that you have established an emotional connection with. So that can be like a friend, or like once you have a romantic interest in someone, like once you're at the point where you're like, I love you, like there's a couple different places you could put that. So demisexual is just like functionally they are asexual unless they are emotionally infatuated with someone or emotionally interested in someone. Then they're sexually attracted to them. And that can be within, like, so they might be demisexual and also homosexual, you know? So, like, they're demi, but it only happens with women or whatever, something like that. Omnisexual means it's basically the same as bisexual, but it is meant to be inclusive in, like, non-binary people, trans women, trans men, no implication that bi means only two. It's just a way of trying to be like going way, way, way out of your way to avoid any of the possible negative implications of calling yourself bisexual or pansexual. It's functionally just the same. Like it's kind of similar to bisexual and pansexual though. And then gynosexual, I'm going to assume that gynosexual is someone's way of saying that they're attracted to women without also declaring their own gender, because that is one of the pitfalls of sexual orientation labels as we currently do them, is that if you say, like, if I was a man and I said I'm gay, like, that it implies like I'm a man and I'm attracted to men, you know, like your gender is tied up in that. But rather if I was like, maybe I don't want to say whether or not I'm a man, if I said something like I'm androsexual, then that could be like to say that I'm attracted to men and I don't want to declare what my gender is. So gynosexual could be like I'm attracted to women and I don't want to say anything else. I don't know. Who knows? I kind of agree with that, Grady HD. I'll respect whatever someone calls themselves, and labels can be very useful. I just also think that some people get too granular worrying about what single word fully represents them. I personally got really frustrated with it, and I stopped doing that shit. Like, I identify as queer, I identify as agender and non-binary, like very broad terms. I'm not gonna sit here and go like, I'm a demi-boy who's also fey gender and something else. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a little much to go into all that detail about it all the time. What's up, Kenneth? Welcome back to the chat. I was just thinking about starting a little segment to record for the channel. Since people have been asking about some good questions. What's fey gender? Yeah, let's not get into it right now. I'm honestly not a fan of labeling attraction as a whole. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is fey gender a real thing? I must assume that there are people who describe themselves that way. I mean, there are people who use fey fair pronouns, so I must assume that it is in some way related to their gender? Question mark. I don't know. What's up, Gayfesh? How's it going? What's really funny is you popped into the chat and you posted a dancing emoji, and my brain just immediately triggered the Demon Mama bathroom song. It was just like, boom, immediate. Incredible. Oh gosh. Let me pull this up really quick. Beep, 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 beep. I am living in your brain. It's true. You are rent-free living in my brain. Dance the gloomies away. I know. What's up, Slaps Hungry Bears? How we doing? If you're here and you have not yet hit like, consider doing that, because I'm about to start potentially the only useful segment that I'm going to be doing today, which is an MS Paint segment. My very first little MS Paint thing. I came up with a very specific idea. I was wondering yesterday if you use a mobility accessory, as I've never seen you stand, but I guess that question is answered. So I can walk just fine. I guess like just as far as the ability to get from one place to another is concerned, I do have like my heart and my veins don't coordinate very well. So like hiking is not necessarily very fun for me. So I do actually have a staff. It's not like a medical device that I've been given by a doctor, but it is a thing that I got because sometimes it's hard for me to deal with being on my feet all day. So like, for example, at the Renaissance Festival, I have a staff that I will use sometimes there so that I can walk and not be tired. Oh yes, thank you, Sarah, with the $5 dono. Yeah, like I use a walking stick to deal with my fatigue and to help me with that. You have a heavy metal pole to beat transphobes. Got it. I have a stick. I appreciate that. Everybody's donos have been very helpful. So like the entire time that I've been doing this, they have always been useful because like none of it's going to waste, y'all. None of the money's going to waste. It's like bills and food. I cannot see my mouse. Okay, there and now I found my mouse. Okay. Oh, wow. I have like dramatically, like, I've lost like 10 people since I was like, okay, I'm ready to start talking about this. No! It's fine. Because this is mostly for the channel anyway, but I'm prepared to have fun. We've been dealing with this discourse about transness and gender and sex for years and years. I've been participating in it myself for a long time. And, you know, there was a point in the midst of all of this advocacy where we were really hammering home that, like, sex and gender are different things. You know, you might remember Chaz Bono saying that, like, gender is between your ears and sex is what's between your legs, right? So, and this kind of goes along with some terminology distinctions, like you'll say male and female to refer to sex, but you'll say man and woman to refer to gender, right? Very discrete. And I think ultimately, like, it's not necessarily incorrect to say that gender and sex, like, can be two different things, right? The issue is that what has happened as a result of this is that TERFs and other transphobes and stuff will say, like, okay, well, fine, like, trans women can call themselves trans women, but they're still male, you know? Like, trans men can call themselves trans men, but really we know that they're female. And like, secretly in their minds, they're equivocating the word female with the word woman, like, because to a transphobe, like, to be a woman or a man is to describe the sexed characteristics, that, like, the gender and the sex can't be separate. And that's part of why we did this for so long. We hammered it home. We were like, please, can we just have these things be separate? Oh my God, I don't want you going off right now. Why are you going off 3 times in a row? That is enough to make me want to throw my phone across the room. Way too much. Goodness gracious. So, and people were asking in the Discord, like, why would you be upset at someone saying that a trans woman is male? Like, first of all, there is an inherent implicit misgendering kind of going into that. I think it's just like, there's just like a sense that you have about it. It's like, I can tell that the point of, like, why would you need to point out, why would you need to say, oh, trans women can call themselves women, but they're still male? You know, like, what is the point of saying that except to create, like, a discrete otherizing category, right? First of all, first problem. Second problem with this is that it is just factually incorrect, I think. So we've discussed briefly before that maybe sex is malleable. Like, first of all, it's just something that we've labeled as, like, this cluster of things tend to go together, and this cluster of things tend to go together. We call it a bimodal distribution when there's, like, a lot of people in these two groups, and there's people on the extreme outliers, not as many though, and then there's some people in between these two big groups. We might call those people intersex, and there's, like, less of them, but it's not strictly one or the other, right? There is a set of characteristics that we look at when we're determining what sex someone is. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. That's what I want to illustrate for you today in our very first segment, where we're bringing in MS Paint to help us illustrate the issue that we're dealing with here today, okay? So we are going to be talking about sex. What is it? What is? We don't know. Question mark? Okay. I'm so bad at drawing question marks. All right. So what is it? What is sex? Okay. People are like, it's chromosomes, it's gametes, it's gonads. What is it? Okay. Question mark. We have it. Can we just, like, yeah. That's all I want. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Amazing. So let's look at what different things we typically use to describe sex, or, like, what goes into it. What do you think of? Like, you think about what is sex? Is pee-pee, like, is genitals, maybe? Like, that's one factor. Let's go ahead and write that there. Genitals. That may be like an obvious one. Most people might think of this one first. You know, we all learned it when we were little. PP equal boy, VV equal girl, okay? Genitals, right? And let's say another relevant factor would be, oh my God, where's my mouse? I earnestly can't see it. Okay, there it is. I found it. Okay, so another factor is, let's say gonads. That's whether you have testicles or ovaries or ovotestes or none. Gonads, okay? That's definitely a relevant factor to sex, right? That's absolutely relevant. And what else do we got? Oh, you know, what hormones you have are probably really important. Hormones. Oh my God, look at this. I am so good at drawing with my mouse. Okay, hormones. Like, do you have testosterone mostly or estrogen mostly? Now, to be clear, and just to remind everybody, you have both. For them, like, unless there is something chemically like unbalanced, generally speaking, men have testosterone mostly, but also a little bit of estrogen. And then women have mostly estrogen and a little bit of testosterone when we're talking about cis men and cis women. So just to be clear, it's not like men don't have any estrogen and women don't have any testosterone. Everybody has some of both. Unless like you've had your gonads removed or you don't have gonads. Why is it so easy for me to lose my mouse on this page? It is so frustrating. Okay, there it is. So that's three. We got three different characteristics here. I think that we can think of another though. I think that we can look also at your, how are we going to write this? Your secondary characteristics. Second. Let's just say second. What's secondary? I can't write. Okay, so your secondary sex characteristics, which is like, do you have boobs or do you have a beard? Or is your fat distributed in a feminine or masculine way? Like, is your fat mostly on your hips and your butt, or is your fat mostly on your belly? That kind of question about secondary sex characteristics, which we could also say sort of implied under secondary sex characteristics is whether your body can react to the hormones. Because obviously you can have the hormones in your body, but they might not do anything if your body doesn't have the receptors necessary. So that's just a relevant factor there. And I think there's one, there is obviously, silly me, there's one last characteristic, and that characteristic is chromosomes. Let's see if we can fit it here. Chromosomes. Okay? That's whether you have XX or XY or XXY or X0. Like, there are multiple different configurations of sex hormones. Most people don't have theirs tested, so you wouldn't know. But that's okay. So I think this is a good list to at least start with. You know, when we are describing what sex is, we really are looking at all 5 of these different characteristics. And usually it's like, okay, let's say we have a cisgender woman here. Let's make her pink. Okay, we have a cisgender woman. She was born a little baby girl, and now she is a adult human female. Okay, so she's got long hair. She's got boobies. She's got a V down here, a vagina. And okay, let's just start there. So with a cisgender woman, usually, now most people don't know their chromosomes, but we're just going to assume that they're XX for the sake of this example. We're just going to assume that she has XX chromosomes, okay? Now, I already said that she had a vagina, so her genitals are girl genitals there. Let's also say she is pregnant. So we know that she has the organs inside of her required to have a baby. So she has ovaries. You know, we're just going to assume she has ovaries because she's pregnant. She has a bunch of estrogen in her body. We can tell because of her secondary sex characteristics. So those two, like I said, kind of go together. So she has boobies and you know, no beard. So she has female secondary sex characteristics, and she has female hormones because she has mostly estrogen in her body. Okay. This is how we typically group these characteristics. This is why people think that sex is binary, but it's actually bimodal, because most people will have either all female parts or all boy parts when we're looking at this. At least, again, we assume. We don't usually actually look at people's chromosomes. This is just always going to be something we're having to guess about. So it makes sense to call this person female, because we've decided that when a vagina and ovaries and estrogen and XX chromosomes all happen together in one person, we call that collection of traits female, right? Now, I want to look at a different person. Let's see this other person I want to look at. Let's make this person purple, okay? This is a trans woman. So she is a little bit taller. I guess I just drew her bigger. Let's, you know, she has blue hair, and it's a little bit shorter, but still pretty cool looking. Okay. So, and she has boobies and a vagina, but she is not pregnant. We don't think that she has any ovaries in there, and she had her testicles removed, so we're just gonna assume that she has no gonads, as we're gonna have to assume that, okay? And she has no beard. All right. So let's look through here. We are going to have to assume again about the chromosomes, because she hasn't had her chromosomes tested. She can't afford it. Most people can't afford it, and most people don't know what their chromosomes are. All right. So, but we're just gonna guess. We're just gonna assume that she has XY chromosomes, because that's what we have observed to be typical with someone who was born male. She's a trans woman. I've already said she's a trans woman, okay? So she is a trans woman who takes estrogen. So she has more estrogen in her body than testosterone. That is her hormonal makeup. Now, she has boobies and no beard. I already said that. So she has female secondary sex characteristics. Now, this part, you know, I said that she has a vagina. So she has female genitals, but she used to have testicles, and now she doesn't anymore. So she kind of has, what color should we make this? Let's just make it like brown. She has kind of no sex as far as gonads are concerned. If ovaries are female and testicles are male, she kind of has none. So that is 3 out of 5 characteristics that are female. Only 1 characteristic is male. Okay? So now, how many factors matters when we're talking about what sex someone is? You know, someone might say, oh, it doesn't matter if someone has, you know, surgically changed their genitals or whatever. Their chromosomes are still the same, which means they're always going to be intrinsically male. Does that actually make any sense, though? Is the question. Because here's my thoughts on it. What hormones you have are the big factor in how medications work and in testing certain blood levels. Like, when you're on testosterone, for example, if you are assigned a female and you're on testosterone, if they continue testing your hemoglobin count and show that your sex is female, it's going to start looking like a dangerously high range, because the normative range for female levels of hemoglobin are lower than for males. But if you start running that same blood test through and just switch the sex to male, all of a sudden the hemoglobin count is within normal range. So it seems most often that dosages of medication and blood tests and such like that are mostly dependent on hormones. Mostly dependent on hormones. I kind of like lost my mind with my mouse there for a second. Mostly dependent on hormones. So in most medical situations, it's actually more important to know your sex based on your hormones, because your gonads, like your gonads and your genitals, are not going to make an impact on that. Not nearly so much. Like, your risk for heart attack, I believe, goes up slightly. Like, this woman, when she started taking estrogen, she was taking testosterone, or she was on testosterone naturally. Like, her body was doing testosterone before. And then when she started estrogen, her risk of heart attack went up slightly. Because I believe if I'm remembering my numbers correctly, women have a slightly higher risk of heart attack. Or maybe, yeah, and a heart attack and stroke, I think, because their blood clot tendency is more likely. Especially like after the age of 35 and such. So this woman has a cardiovascular risk disease just like any other woman, and she needs to take care of her body in that way, right? And I said that she has a vagina, which means that she needs gynecological care. Like, she needs to go to an OBGYN and have her health regularly checked on in that regard. So this person who started out assigned male, had testosterone in their body, has gone through these changes, and like I said, we have 3 out of 5 characteristics female, only 1 male, and 1 that's kind of neither. 1 that's kind of neither up here. I'm just not changing the color, apparently. And because of how prevalent each of these factors is, like, the chromosomes make no difference to the medical care. The chromosomes make no difference to the gynecological care, or to whether you get prostate cancer, you know? The chromosomes make no difference as to whether you even grow testicles or whatever in the first place. Like, the gene that turns on the testicles, like the testicle growing factory gets it starting, is not even on your sex chromosome pair. It's on a different pair of chromosomes entirely. So I hope that this made it a little bit easier to understand why it makes the most sense to say that trans women who are on hormones, who've had these surgeries, are female for all intents and purposes that it matters. Like, when you start taking hormones, your sweat and your pee smell different. Your emotional processing can change. Your libido can change. Your digestion can change. It creates like an innumerable amount of changes in your body. Sex hormones affect a lot of your body systems. And my personal opinion is that as soon as someone starts taking hormones, they have effectively changed their sex. And like, if your doctor is doing tests correctly and everything, they will have to make adjustments to your tests and your medications as you continue increasing your dose and getting on a normative amount, so that you're not like, you usually, you know, you start out on a lower dose and kind of like keep check of your levels as you go along to make sure that they're hitting the targets that you're going for, right? So yeah, that is why I believe that trans women are women and female, and trans men are men and male, and non-binary people can describe their bodies in whatever way works best for them. Like, I don't know how I would describe my body at this point, because I have been on hormones and I'm not right now. Some things have changed permanently, and other things haven't. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think I can say that I am the same sex that I was assigned at birth, although I wouldn't also now claim that I'm the opposite. I don't know. Maybe I should go through this little genderbread person that I've created for myself someday and make it make sense. But for now, I hope that made everything make sense, and I appreciate your time, and I'm going to wrap the segment there. Thank you. Like the video. Oh my God, hit like, subscribe. Patreon, do it. HRT gave me boobs. True. I had to make your message come through, Harley. I think I prefer Vash's terminology of calling it a kind of intersex state. I agree with that, imaginary MDA. I basically think that, like, from my prerogative, it's like, do we not kind of render ourselves intersex? Like, do we not make ourselves intersex by changing these things about our bodies, you know? But the tricky thing about that is that if I say that about myself, then it's hard for that to not also become an implication about other people. Like, if some trans man out there, and I'm sure that there are plenty who fit this bill, like, let's say there's a trans man out there who was on testosterone for about 4 or 5 years, has not had any surgeries, and is off of testosterone right now because he doesn't have enough money to afford his prescription. Is he intersex? Like, if I have rendered myself intersex, like, and if I say that, like, oh, because of I'm in this like middle place with my sex, like, am I also implying that a trans man is intersex and not male? It's also different from being born intersex. Yeah, and the main reason, like, that's the main reason why I've stopped saying that I am, like I'm not, like, saying that I'm intersex, but, like, I'm not really, like, pushing this idea that trans people render ourselves intersex or that non-binary people render themselves intersex, because I know people who are born intersex are, like, coercively given inappropriate surgeries and traumatized permanently and, like, have lifelong urogenital complications and face stigma and everything. So I completely get it. I'm kind of like of the opinion that the brain is an organ of sex, though. So it's hard for me to not view being born trans as being a type of intersex condition, you know? Like, I don't know. So I will say, like, I'm not trying to get in on anything that intersex people have going on. I just think that it's more complicated than we give credence to, personally. Okay, where's my chat? Bring it back. Bring it back. I fucking hate MS Paint. It's so, like, I lose my mouse every time. It's very annoying. God. Fun story relating to digestion, by the way. When my mom asked the doctor if my gallbladder issues were caused by HRT, he said yes, but then said that I should continue to take HRT anyway because the benefit outweighs the risk of me having my gallbladder taken out. That's good. I'm glad to hear that from your doctor. I had to literally argue with my supervisor about this because I got hit with the PMS brick this month, especially hard. Dude thinks it's literally impossible. Yeah, I mean, PMS is caused by estrogen, and so if you have estrogen in your body, then even if you don't have a uterus, like, it's your thyroid that makes these decisions, not your ovaries, you know? Your ovaries don't have anything to do with it. Clearly, trans people on hormones have different medical needs from cis people of either gender, but I don't know much about intersex discourse in actual intersex communities. Yeah, I follow a couple of intersex people. One of them is called Hans, and another one of them is called Pigeon. PMS is premenstrual syndrome, which is, you know, it's the, like, cluster of symptoms that people get before they start their period. Like moodiness and whatever, pain, cramping. Yes, and we have Mersh in the chat who's intersex. So they can always, like, have their opinion on it. Yeah, Juniper. And, like, yeah, so, like, I don't want to appropriate the intersex experience. I think that it's interesting to discuss, like, how would you describe the sex of a trans person like myself, who is, like, I mean, like someday I'm gonna be a trans person who has been on hormones but may or may not be on them right now, and who has, like, a vagina and a penis at the same time. Like, so, like, what do you call the sex of that person at that point? Like, if I still have my uterus, am I female? Like, once I get my uterus taken out, am I no longer female? I wish I had a word similar to intersex for myself because male and female both feel limited. Exactly. Like, I was assigned female, but I don't feel that I can even honestly say that I am that right now, even though I'm off hormones. I'm like, my voice is deeper. Like, stuff about my body has permanently changed, and I don't think it's accurate to say that I'm female, but I don't think that I'm male either. And especially since I'm like, someday I'm gonna like have a penis and a vagina at the same time. Like, I don't know what to call that. You call them a hot babe, that's their sex now. True. I consider trans people my cousins, so to speak. I get a lot of the same discrimination and I can relate. I am non-binary biologically and otherwise. Legally, I am forced to be female. I think we have more in common than we have different to each other. I think trans people and intersex people obviously we have more in common with each other than we have different to each other. I completely understand intersex people's frustration with how, I'm sure I've done this multiple times in the past. Like, we use intersex people as a rhetorical device in discussions about transness, and I think it's relevant. Like, I don't think it's not relevant, but I understand the frustration of mostly being used as a rhetorical device and not necessarily being given a voice to be heard on the subject. That I can understand being very frustrating. We're still going. If you haven't hit like on the stream, please consider doing that. It always helps directly. This is a viewer-supported show. Donations and Patreons are how we get this going. Damn, I gotta go. Hopefully I'll be back before stream ends. I have no idea how much longer we are going to go. Who knows if we're gonna be here for much longer. Oh, Harley's books switched from Reptileverse. Okay. Good. So yeah. I get the frustration from intersex people. I've also heard people say that like PCOS could be considered an intersex condition, and I have not been confirmed to have it, but I'm pretty sure I have PCOS, so I might be intersex, like literally. I don't know though. I would have to get I think I would have to get ultrasounds in order to know that. I know some intersex people don't identify as trans, even if they are getting the same procedures, so I try to leave those takes for intersex people. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say PCOS is it's a hormonal, it's a natural hormonal difference where we have more testosterone naturally. And so part of the reason why I think that is because like my chin hair started coming in before I ever started T. Like I think that my mom had PCOS, and yeah, I know one intersex person, Hans, said that PCOS like could be considered an intersex condition, and if you are comfortable with it yourself, you could call yourself intersex if you had PCOS. Yeah, there are different levels of severity of it as well. Like I think it just has to do with how bad that hormonal imbalance is. So it's specifically like, in my opinion, it's a hormonal imbalance that can cause differences in secondary sex characteristics and most notably fertility issues. I think like a hormonal issue that can cause fertility issues in particular is that you would definitely have to consider that a difference of sex development or an intersex condition. My chin hair is starting to come in already and I'm far from taking tea. Well, that's good to hear, Caleb. You know? Yeah, I think that it would be mostly an issue of self-ID with PCOS if you wanted to call it intersex. Yeah, because I don't want to, again, this is like, I don't want to say that women with PCOS are less women. I'm saying that not saying that they're not women. I think you can be intersex and still also be a cis woman, you know? My country recently added a third sex option for intersex people, so none of y'all or your parents have to pick here now. Oh, that's good. That's gonna like reduce the number of surgical corrections. That's good to hear. Well, Anansi, you say PCOS is a condition. It doesn't mean you are intersex. I could say that androgen insensitivity syndrome is a condition, and it doesn't mean that you're intersex. You know, people with PCOS sometimes grow beards. It's a difference of sex development, and it's like more and more considered to be an intersex condition. The many issues of the cis-trans dichotomy. Yeah, androgen insensitivity is an intersex condition. Yeah. Oh wait, what did Mersh say? Anansi was responding to someone else. I made a mistake by getting into a conversation that had nothing to do with me. They outlawed the awful surgeries, surgical corrections done on babies in the same breath, unless there is a definite medical need for it. Hey, that's good to hear. I'm so glad for your country in Germany, where they have made intersex surgery on babies illegal and produced a third sex option for intersex people. But the annoying thing is that they still don't let non-binary people register as a third sex. Like, that would be cool. Obviously, CAIS. I think that it is sometimes called CAIS, congenital androgen insensitivity syndrome. Yeah, Kenneth, like when, so like I follow this one person on Twitter called Pigeon who is intersex and was born with like basically like a type of genitals on the outside that looked like it could be like a really big clitoris or a really tiny penis. And so because it was like more on the small side than the big side, they performed a clitorectomy. Like they removed some of the quote excess parts of their clitoris in order to make it normatively female. And then when they were 11 years old, they had a vaginoplasty done on them without permission. Like they didn't even know that that's what was being done. They just thought that there was like a bladder. They thought that there was like a bladder problem. And yeah, they had a vaginoplasty done on them when they were 11 years old because they only had like a very shallow vagina. So when we are talking about intersex surgeries, we're talking about like surgery being done without consent on children to quote unquote correct their genitals. Oh, CAIS is complete androgen insensitivity. Yes, yeah, it can be partial or complete. Yes. That's very shit, Mersh, that like your position in the military would be compromised by your being intersex if it weren't for the fact that you were just like really useful to them. I mean, it's good that you're useful to them. Or is it the military that you're talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they'll say God makes no mistakes talking about trans people, but then they'll correct intersex people at birth. I don't think that there's any like specific significance to like, is male the first sex and female the second sex. It's just like, first of all, I don't think that intersex is a third sex. Like it's called intersex because it means between the sexes. So it just, I mean, really, like, I don't know that it's even that useful to have sex dichotomy distinctions. Like, there are so many different subtypes. You can be born with testicles, but then have androgen insensitivity and develop breasts and your balls never drop and shit. Like, I don't know, like, because your body doesn't respond to testosterone, right? So I think that, like, technically speaking, you could make a different word of, like, this is a different sex for all of these different things. Like, so androgen insensitivity syndrome could have its own sex. And then, like, trans women who have, like, adorable shrunken penises and boobs will also be considered that same sex. And then, like, females with PCOS could be another sex. Like, all of these are, like, distinct if you're going to actually look at it, right? Exactly, yeah. If we're talking sexes beyond male and female, then intersex is a cluster of different sexes. Like, even amongst females and males, you could even make even more sexed distinctions. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess PCOS would be one of those type of distinctions, but like, based on like how big their breasts are. Like, women with smaller breasts are less female than women with bigger breasts, because breasts are a female characteristic, and therefore woman with big breasts is more woman or more female. I guess twink is a sex now. True. Oh, I see. Special officer position in an org that is both paramilitary and officially linked to the Army National Guard. Nice. There's a tennis player. She is cisgender and intersex. She has XY chromosomes, but her parents assigned her female. I don't think I've heard of this tennis player before. Yeah, can we make it the default that we just don't cut up babies' genitals? That would be great. The option for neither female or male here is called diverse. Oh, God. I have a pretty small chest, so I haven't felt the need to bind. That is a good feeling to have, Caleb. I'm happy for you. That's awesome. What is today's date? It's August 7th, and we are over $100 for our whole month of goal, which is pretty good. It's pretty solid. Thank you so much for your continued participation, hanging out, liking the stream, sharing the content. What I want before Christmas, just before Christmas is what I want, is to get back to 30,000 subscribers. So if you will help me by sharing the channel and the links to the live streams and the videos when I upload them, I'm going to be uploading like basically a video a day for a while until I get caught up on stream content. So share the content, please. Help me get back. Yeah, Anansi, I have gotten to 30K twice. I got to 30K and then it dropped down, and then I got back up to 30K. And then, like, I think every time I upload a video, YouTube runs like a protocol where it deletes inactive accounts. So every time I uploaded a video for like months, it was like my sub count would drop that same day. So I'm down to like 27 or whatever. Or no, sorry. 29,700. So I need like 300 more subs and then I'll be back at 30K. Help me get back there. That's all I want. They should just have sex. Sure? True. Yeah, remember that Republican bill that would outlaw any surgeries on children's genitals, but then they had to modify it to still allow circumcision because they didn't realize it would block it. Yeah, that one in Idaho got completely canceled because it didn't have that exception for intersex surgeries, you know? Good grief. Calvin Guerra is losing a lot of subscribers. He has 299K now. What was his peak? Do you know? Do you know what his highest peak was? I'm kind of subscribed. I'm kind of surprised he still has that many subscribers. Oh well. Sucks to be a fucking horrible person. If only I were meaner, I could be as famous as Calvin Guerra. If only I were willing to call people slurs, I could be famous too. The coffee, the decaf coffee, it hits. I love the flavor of coffee, but I have like panic attack symptoms when I have regular strength coffee, so decaf is really doing it for me. Hasn't Calvin not posted in like 6 months? I think that Calvin is streaming now. Grady HD says, I've always kind of wished I wasn't circumcised just out of curiosity for what that's like. My partner is pissed off about circumcision. Start saying slurs, get that Vosh subscriber count. True. I mean, I do say slurs sometimes. Sometimes. Just not at other people usually. What's up, Christy? Welcome in. Is Vosh streaming right now? I don't know. Was he streaming earlier today? Not really sad about him losing subs. Can Blair be next? It would be really good if Blair and Calvin both lost subscribers to, like, he still has almost 300,000 subs. That's so many. Oh my God. I think if I had like 50K, and if that 50K were largely I mean, if I got 20,000 more subs on top of what we have now, those people are all going to be people who are like fans because of the live streams. If I had 50K on that were mostly knowing me because of the live streams and not because of like my old style of content, we would be so solid. Like I would be like making plenty of money through ads and everything. Oh my God. Let's just keep on keeping on our schedule. I'm really proud of us for sticking on the schedule for the most part. I'm still getting stream hiccups as everyone else is fine. Yeah, I still want updates about the connection and everything because I finally figured out how to increase the stream quality to 1080p. So basically I'm streaming twice the amount of data that I was streaming before. Today is Zena's birthday. Oh, that's cool. Jess and Zena from Trans Girl Therapist. Are they going to be streaming today? Or I think they canceled a recent stream from migraines. What is the schedule? The stream schedule as of right now is we stream on Sundays starting at noon Central Time. I'm in the Central US, so noon Central Time. And that is gives us a day where all of our European friends can join in and hang out with us. And then we also stream on Tuesday and Thursday evenings starting at 6 p.m. Central Time. So that's more like your normal American evening stream kind of schedule. Now, this upcoming week, we are going to start streaming on Thursday at about 4 o'clock, or maybe a little bit earlier than that even, because we're doing a kind of group stream with some other folks. We're going to have some conversations about Doug Mastriano, who is a shithead, terrible, awful person from Pennsylvania who we are going to make lose the governor race. So that is our schedule for this week. And then through September and October, we're not going to be streaming on Sundays. It's just going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays for a while there. Blair is worse than Calvin to me. They're both awful. Yeah. Calvin has talked about you 4 times on his channel, and since he has a bigger content, a lot of people might have already started watching you after that video. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I've definitely gotten some people who've converted over from Calvin's content. Absolutely. It would be cool if there were more people. Although I love deconverting radicals. Doggy the Anarchist says, "Hello, fellow queers. Hope y'all had a good weekend." I think I'm hormonal. I think that's what's happening. I'm just crying so easily. Oh my God. It's like the weird time of the cycle where you're like, you could cry at any moment, but also like you are ravenously horny. Do you know how that goes? Mastriano is definitely a neo-Nazi sympathizer. Yeah, Doug Mastriano is a piece of shit. And we are going to make sure that he does not win the election in Pennsylvania. Hormonal in a good way or a bad way. I mean, in the way that I'm like upset easily and it's fucking irritating. Implying I didn't tear up like 5 times during Return of the Jedi yesterday. Yeah. I'm not sure if Return of the Jedi got me at all yesterday. I watched all of the Hunger Games all of the Hunger Games movies on like Friday, and those movies made me cry. Broke hormonal in a good way. Woke hormonal. True. Gosh. Oh my God, my phone. Like, what has changed about my phone case that it's making so much more noise when it vibrates now? I don't know. Calm down, though. Calm down. I've never watched The Hunger Games. They're pretty good. They're pretty good movies. They're very intense movies, you know? Hunger Games hits pretty close to home. Yeah, I don't know why I'm watching it. I think I'm watching it like as a pre-processing. But it's a good time. I absolutely love to hear that when people are like, I watched the Calvin video, but it backfired because instead of me thinking that Calvin was correct when he was dunking on you, it was actually just made me think like, actually, Lux is correct and I can go on hormones or not if I want to. I'm like, ha 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 ha. You failed, Calvin. It's like the Elmo, you know, like that picture, that gif of like Elmo and it's like the fire behind him and he's like, ah ha 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 ha. That's how I feel. The Hunger Games series paints a terrifying picture of a totalitarian United States where everyone has really dumb names. I think that that's supposed to be symbolic of the cultural decline. You know, like the schools are not great. Like they're not well educated in the districts and there are fewer people. So you don't need as much like uniqueness in the names. And like a lot of the culture has been lost. So a lot of the names are based on things in the natural world. Like primrose is called after a flower. Katniss is called after a plant. Gale, like wind. Pita, like for the bread. You know, I think it's supposed to be sort of symbolic of how things have regressed. Calvin was the first actual trans person that I found, so I was indoctrinated by him for years. Holy shit, I am so sorry to hear that. Transmedicalism caused me a lot of doubt. I hate it. I'm glad that you all have figured out your shit and come out on the other side of that. Is there anything that I could be doing now, do you think, that would help people who are still being influenced by Calvin Guerra? Like, what is something that I could do? Like, what was it when you were watching Calvin Guerra that made you realize that he was wrong? Like, what could I be doing now to help deconvert people from Calvin Guerra's point of view and transmedicalism? I'm willing to receive feedback. I mean, I love receiving feedback on any of this shit. I'm like, what content should I be doing? What do you want? What's going to be useful? The Hunger Games are one of the best shown revolutions. I was a little bit frustrated because I feel like the Hunger Games, unfortunately, like, I think it kind of sucks that there aren't any... I mean, that it doesn't go into, like, any of the organization of this thing. Like, Katniss is just supported by this whole revolutionary structure, and it's like, all she has to do is kind of be there, and the structure kicks in for her, you know? And, like, I don't think we have, like, the structure. I think that we're in the phase where we still need to be, like, establishing connections and community. It's something that Demon Mama Hammer's on so hard. She was going on it real hard in her stream last night of, like, basically, like, we need to establish connections with each other and come up with our own ways of supporting each other and making the things that we need and feeding ourselves and, you know, doing these production things. I can't handle the romantic triangle in the Hunger Games series. Really drags down my interest in the story. I feel like I was pretty annoyed with it in the books as well. But yeah, you gotta slip a love triangle into your YA if you want it to be... You want to get it into the libraries. I found Jammy Dodger and realized that most trans people don't hate each other. Well, that's good. I had an acquaintance who would say things like, I see it as 3 genders, male, female, and transgender. He liked both Calvin and Blair and claimed that they weren't transmedicalists. Yikes. Yikes. Well, how do you distinguish, like, transgender, like, trans men and women are both lumped under transgender? Jesus, Anansi, that's fucked up. Well, you did like 15 years ago, Reptileverse. Maybe you don't have to slip in the love triangles and YA now, but you definitely did then. I was never fully Calvin pilled, but I think his fans are in deep need for validation and security. Hopefully we can show them that they can have that without pushing others down. Yeah, I guess that's one thing I can do is just continue being unrelentingly positive and inviting everybody to just be themselves and be chill here, you know? I wish I could help with that. I only watched like 15 minutes of Calvin and he was being a douche and you seemed sensible. Also, you look cute and he looks dull, which helped. Continue being cute. Okay. Basically, it's just like, keep doing what I'm doing. Being cute and being open and loving. I don't think I had ever really phrased it that way until the last few days, really. But like, I think that is like a very strong characteristic of mine, is that I'm just a very loving person. I just hadn't ever put it that way. I've said before, like, I'm a really caring person, but I had never really phrased it that way. But it's true. I am a very loving person. Bucking traditions by introducing a romantic open polygon into my YA series. True. Most people, especially in fantasy, hate love triangles now. Well, that's good. I mean, it's overplayed. It's overplayed. At one point, I was talking to some conservative who had literally no understanding of how any of this works. And he was like, well, to me, there are 3 genders and trans is the 3rd gender. And I'm like, wait, no, that's not how it works. Trans is an adjective about gender. And he's like, well, this is how I believe it, so I don't care. That kind of deliberate, willful ignorance has always made me irrationally angry. I don't think it's irrational. I think it's quite rational to be angry at that. And even to be very angry at that. Broke, love triangles, woke, polyamory. It doesn't work when idiots are steeped in fucking guess culture. That's problem. I mean, my anger becomes irrational. Okay, I see. Like, you lose your rationality in your anger. You become so angry that you're like, oh, rationality's gone. Calvin clearly seems less intelligent and less articulate. That's so fucking savage, Mersh. He's someone who seems very opinionated, but with little real substance to support his arguments, other than internalized gender stereotypes that he has developed in order to conform. He does not have as much depth. I'll take it. I guess I'll take it. Riley J. Dennis, you and like 2 other trans peeps were who I watched as an egg. Nice. Oh, thank you, Mersh. You support your arguments better. Plus, he talked about your voice, and I listened to it and noticed how beautiful it is. Also, you do have a pleasant, attractive appearance. It helps you all around, Lux. Thank you. Just continue being adorable, you know. How is Calvin friends with Blair White and Buck Angel, but hates Ariel Scarcella and the offensive tranny when they all believe the same thing? Calvin said he does believe in non-binary, but not gender fluid and other genders, and he will use they, them pronouns, but never neo-pronouns. I don't know. I think it's because Ariel, like, did something to personally piss off Calvin. But I'm not sure how that works, because Ariel and Blair are friends. So if Calvin and Blair are friends, like, why is he not friends with Ariel? It's because she did something to personally fuck him over, and I just can't remember what it was. Oh, the coffee is so yummy. Yeah, he believes in non-binary, but he also will... I don't know that he really respects your pronouns unless you actually transition. Like, if I had never taken T, I think he would just call me she. IDK if it's just me, but your mask singing voice kind of reminds me of this. Was that supposed to be time-stamped to 40 seconds? Half of the trans people I watched as an egg have also come out as trans since they were also eggs at the time. Yeah. Okay, I have the tab open. Don't want you to listen to a whole copyrighted song on Steam. Okay, let me pull up the headphones. Just like a little 40-second clip here. Kiss while your lips are still red. Yeah, I can see why you think that. That makes sense to me. Oh, I bet it was really quiet for you all. Did I not turn the volume back up? It's fine. We'll just let it be quiet. It's fine. You all can click the link if you want to. I'm not gonna make it even easier for them to zuck me on the copyright. So when I go to make the segment for the MS Paint segment, when I go to turn that into a segment for the channel, should I just take the finished picture? Should I just take this finished picture and make that the thumbnail? Is this what the thumbnail should be? And then like my face on the left where chat normally is. That makes the most sense. Okay, please get off my screen. God. A good ass song, by the way. Okay. I might listen to the rest of it later. Goodness gracious. I looked up, do you need surgery to be trans? That's how I escaped Calvin Guerra's BS. Oh no. I mean, I'm glad. Like, I'm just like, that's such a vulnerable thing to type into Google, you know? Something I noticed a while ago, the strange side of YouTube, such as believers in ghosts and everything, are quick to acknowledge that stuff, but suddenly become skeptics when it comes to trans people. True. Maybe the other picture would have been a better thumbnail. Wait, what other picture? Of the cis woman that I posted? Make it look like a chalkboard? Okay. We kind of talk about whatever a lot of the time in my streams. But yeah, I didn't really have a solid plan. I kind of have been feeling like shit the past couple days. Just mostly in the sense of like, oh, I cry really easily, you know? And I felt really kind of shit before stream today. So I was like, I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on myself to like perform today. We're just chilling. I'm hitting that 3-hour mark though, and I'm like, ooh. Sometimes I hit that 3-hour mark and I get real tired real fast. What did I miss? I just got back from picking up food because I'm too lazy to cook today. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cook later. I think my partner just got back from eating, so I am gonna fix myself something after stream, probably. The pictures of those women you drew, Lux, got me a little hot there. True. Oh, Reptileverse. When I was 15, I looked up, will my parents still love me if I come out as trans? That's sad. I'm horny for stick people now. True. Well, I deleted the cis woman that I drew, so unfortunately... Oh, the answer? Nope. Oh, that sucks, Reptile. I'm sorry to hear that. Cheers to not having parents anymore. I have a dad, but a stepmom and no mom. I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one Googling serious personal questions. This is what it's like to be trans when you don't have an environment that's accepting and loving. Cheers to sadness. 3 cheers. I have some beer remaining, and I have some whiskey. We might do some beer tonight. Not on stream, because I feel like we're getting relatively close to the wrapping up point here. I never had parents to begin with. I was harvested from the baby patch. True. I has beer. Nice. What kind of beer do you enjoy, Gayfesh? I find that I usually drink stouts. Like, we got into like coffee stouts. So I drink like really thick beer. And it's like, why would you drink that in the summer? It's like, well, because that's what I want. The cheapest kind available. And the beers that I get are also like 8 or 9% ABV. What is this cis discrimination? Cis discrimination? True. Looking forward to a beer later. Gotta work a bit first. Zug Zug, Hellhound. Zug Zug. I'm drinking Rolling Rock right now. It's literally cheaper than water. Is it, like, good for drink? Is it good for, like, actually getting you drunk? Or is it just for taste? Anansi, did you donate through PayPal and not on one that would show up on the screen? Oh, I see. It's on Streamlabs. I don't know why some of them show up on the screen and some of them don't, and some of them go to the dono button and some of them don't, and I have to update it automatically. Thank you, Anansi. I'm sorry I was not ignoring you. Oh, it did show on screen. Oh, I guess I just didn't hear it. I see. Okay, I just couldn't hear it. But thank you for your $40. I very much appreciate that. Where is the Discord group? It is on the... it's in the description. There's a link down there that should say, like, I am also here, and it's in Discord, and you click it. Feel free to join. Just, like, browse over that little rules page that it opens you up into, and then click the button at the bottom to say, I've read the rules and understand what's going on. Thank you and welcome to the Discord. Thank you for your dono, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day. Or did you say... I thought that you were saying you were going. Yes. Maybe you're not going. I can't fucking read. How useful is Patreon for you? Is it more helpful than donations? Yeah, passing you a softball to plug the Patreon. I like Patreon because I can budget around it. Like, I know what's coming. So long as your cards don't decline or whatever. Donations are a huge part of my income, though. So I appreciate that. Okay, yes, you are leaving now. I can read. Thank you again. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll see you later. Liquid bread that gets you drunk, kind of. Yeah. Why is beer good? Beer... There's like there's like a brightness to the flavor. Like, it's got like not quite some acidity, almost like acidity. It's like it's just like a bite, a little bit of a bitterness. And sometimes you can like get beers that have other flavors infused into them, you know? Like, I have a beer that was like brewed in Scotch barrels, so it's really yummy. I'm allergic to beer. Really? How do you be allergic to beer? Is it yeast or... In general, people gain more appreciation for bitter flavors as they get older as well. Yes. Yeah, it's like, yeah, bitterness, is it the opposite of acidity? Sour is acid, bitter is base. I don't know. But yeah, it's like bitterness... Like, acidity was the wrong word, but I just meant like a brightness, like a zing that like wakes up your tongue. It wakes up your taste buds. Good night, Reptileverse. Have a good rest of your day. I'm glad you made it to stream. Look forward to seeing you in the future as well. There are sour beers. That's true. If you can't have gluten, you can't have beer. Oh, that does make sense. Oh my god. And yeah, I will say beer is definitely one of those things that you grow into. Definitely. Cider fucks with me too. Wow. Interesting. Oh, I guess like, yeah, cider might be made with some kind of glutenizing things as well. There are some gluten-free beers, but I haven't tried them. It sounds miserable. Oh, alcohol is bad for epilepsy. Fair enough. I'm nearly 30. I don't think I will grow into beer. I mean, it's not just that you grow. It's not like a time growing into. It's an exposure growing into. It's literally like, mostly I started drinking beer because I wanted to drink alcohol and get drunk, but I wanted to be forced into being limited. Like, if I have whiskey, like, I can drink a lot of it in a short amount of time, and you know, that's not good. But if I drink beer, I literally can only drink it so fast, and then I'll have to pee. So it is a way to drink and force yourself to drink in moderation. And now I just like it. Yeah, that's why I swapped to beer. I will drink hard alcohol too fast. Yeah, it's not good. And wine too. Wine, I will drink too much of and get sick. Also because there is a less clear delineation of measurement for wine. You know, like one serving of beer is one bottle of beer. One shot of liquor is one serving of liquor, but like there is no wine glass that's the correct size. You know, it's not like a shot glass where it's like put that much alcohol in it and you're good. Like wine is not the same. So I actually didn't like drink wine correctly for a long time. And wine drunk is different than beer drunk. The tannins hit way harder. There have been some nights where I've drank 5 shots of gin, Like, just straight up, yes, I hate myself. I will drink straight gin if that's the only alcohol that there is and I want to be drunk. I can drink 5 shots of gin and not feel nearly so drunk as I do after, like, you know those, so obviously boxed wine is a thing, but you can also get those things of wine that are only like this tall, and it's like, it's got a little screw cap on it so you can drink directly out of this little tiny box thing, and so that's 3 servings of wine. So if I have one of those, I'll feel more drunk than I will on a day that I have 5 shots of gin. And I think beer is different than liquor as well. Hungry Bears says, I can have 4 shots of gin and feel fine when I wake up. I can have 1 beer and be completely smashed for the day. It's the sugars. I think it's the sugars that hit you different. And I think beer drunk is different than liquor drunk too. Like, I have a bunch of whiskey, but I'm not gonna just drink whiskey. I have to drink beer in order to get the right kind of drunk. And then the whiskey pushes me up to the right amount of drunk so that I don't have to drink 4 beers. Wine can also vary wildly in alcohol content. That's true as well. That's true as well. Mead is tricky. Because I looked up how to make mead because I wanted to make mead for a while, and now I don't anymore, I don't think, because I don't actually think I like honey that much. But mead, like, you literally have to let it age. If you don't let mead age, it tastes rancid. Like, it just tastes like straight fucking alcohol unless you let it age for at least 2 months. And that's after bottling it, you know? Oh shit. Baphomet says, I stopped drinking hard liquor for like a year after I turned 21 because as soon as I turned 21, I had 2/3 of a bottle of Jack Daniels, got wasted, and broke the towel rack in the bathroom. Making mistakes while you're drinking is a good way to get yourself to stop drinking. Science has disproven the different drunk depending on booze. It's literally just the straight amount of alcohol. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can drink 5 shots of gin and feel less drunk than I feel after 3 servings of wine. I don't know. Like, I thought that I saw a video from Hank Green about it that was like, the tannins might make some kind of difference, but it's not conclusive. Like, it depends on the person, and your expectations can influence it. So it's just hard to do good science on it because there are so many biases built in. It wasn't just the towel rack. I also vomited the entire contents of my stomach and then spent the rest of the night needing to vomit what wasn't even there. Yeah, that's the worst point of drunk, where like the alcohol is like in your system. There's nothing you can do to get it out of your body, but your body is still like trying to get it out. Like, it's not a good time. If you're allergic to the different levels of fermentation and yeast, like a neutral spirit and ale. Interesting. I distinctly remember going downstairs and crying and telling my mom I was sorry for drinking so much. Oh my god. One time I threw up all over my bed when I was drinking wine out of containers that I did not know how to do portion control for wine. Like, that's the thing. I had no idea how much I was drinking. So that was cool. I tried to get into the trash can, but I just missed somehow and got it on the sheets. And that's why we don't drink nearly so much anymore. I really wish I had been educated better on drinking. Like, I honestly wish that I had like, not only like, I don't know, like, I wish that I had as like a teen, like maybe 18 or something, been like, hey, we're just gonna like, you're gonna drink 1 alcohol and then like 2 alcohols, and I want you to actually understand what different amounts of alcohol in your body do to you. Because then I would know, oh, you should literally never have more than 6 servings of alcohol in one day. My parents let me drink wine for dinner from when I was 16. It's different in Europe. I've never been throwing up drunk. The issue is that I didn't know how to drink responsibly. Like, I wasn't taught. if I was like at a shindig and someone handed me like, oh, here, I cleaned out this shampoo bottle and put a bunch of rum in there, and I've had too much to drink, so I'm going to give it to you now. I'm like, I have no frame of reference for what is an appropriate amount of alcohol for me. And then like you're too drunk before you know it. Instead, I just learned some bad drinking habits when I was 18 to 20 in college. Exactly. Instead, I had to like go like do a bunch of like dangerous behaviors that triggered my partner who has alcoholics in his family, you know? Like, great. The one time I overdosed on alcohol, I got so nauseous I wanted to die. The one time I got too high on a dose of weed, I accidentally poured the weed out of the bong and laughed my ass off for a solid hour, then passed out. Oh my God. I had to buy my first drink, which was a whole bottle of Kraken. Learned the hard way what my limit was day fucking one. Yeah, no. Not good for you. No, 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 no. I like scotch and cinnamon whiskey. Ooh, Mersh, do you drink Fireball or have you ever heard of Cinerator? Because my favorite cinnamon whiskey is Cinerator because it is less syrupy than Fireball and it has 45% alcohol. I was smoking with my sister and she was trying to salvage the soggy weed to smoke the rest of it. No. First time I tried edibles, I forgot how to assemble a taco. I would love to visit somewhere where I could try edibles. That would be cool. I like Fireball. I've never heard of the other one. Okay, it's spelled like this. It's not as popular, though, as Fireball. Like, only certain liquor stores in my town carry it. The fucking Kraken bottle is awesome, and I love that shit. Oh, I used to have one. I used to have one of the tiny ones on the side of my desk, but I think it is tucked away in a box someplace. Wish edibles worked on me. Yeah. Can't relate. I live in Kansas. I've never even touched a weed. I want to get a good bottle of rum and spice it. Apparently way better than any spiced rums for sale. I mean, you have control over the balance, I think, is one of the great things about doing your anything at home. Come to Washington, the edible I tried was literally like a green apple Starburst candy with branded packaging. I'm thinking about it. I'm talking about it with Silent a little bit. I'm thinking about making a visit in maybe like early November. I'm not sure. Oh, camera. Come on now. Come on now. She's coming back. I can hear her. She's thinking about it. There she is. Okay. But yeah, it would be a 27-hour drive if I drove there. So I'm looking at potentially like when are cheap times to fly, you know? If you do, we got to hang out, probably do a big house party at DM's. Honestly, I'm really excited about the idea, even though I still feel like it's very much in the realm of if and maybe, because I feel wildly irresponsible for even planning such a thing. I don't know why. I just do. But yeah, I'm going to I'm thinking about it very, very seriously. And I have like Renaissance Festival needs to happen. So it's also going to depend on whether I'm making enough money throughout September and October, since I'm not going to be streaming on Sundays, you know? Would you like to schedule any other events at our place, Gayfesh? E completely nuked my alcohol tolerance as well. A single beer gets me drunk now. Hey, that's easy. It's way cheaper that way, you know? I just do edibles because I'm a klutz and would drop or knock over onto the ground any bud. Yeah. Yeah, but like maybe I just want to drink more beer. Yeah, so I'm excited about the idea of it though. I think part of the reason I feel so motivated that I want to visit Washington is because I'm like, well, I really want to move there, but I also have never been there, and that's like big, weird, scary thing, and I should at least like see the area before I like commit fully. I don't know. Although by the time it's November, we should be like pretty thoroughly on our way to looking for apartments and houses and shit. Leave alone the Delta 8 THC edibles. Yeah, I don't really want to do like the diet weed stuff that comes out every once in a while. Like, I was never interested in smoking K2. Now we have this, like, Delta 8 shit, and I'm like, I just don't care. Normally I do shots of tequila if I want to get drunk, and now it takes, like, 3 at most to hit my limit. It depends on what time scale you're drinking over, too, you know? You can drink over a long enough time scale that it's not negative for you. I support a Make America Gay Again. True. I don't know that I've ever had tequila. Juniper just got a cannabis cookbook. That sounds exciting. But yeah, it would be cool to visit. I'm not really psyched about the idea of flying on an airplane, but... The tequila aftertaste is like agave. Okay. He's got the weed cooking skills already, though, because he used to sell edibles. You know, that would be good. I've been on a plane. It's just been, like, a long time, and there wasn't, like, a fucking global pandemic the last time, you know? Like, a global pandemic that most people were determined to ignore. Like, if I'm gonna get on an airplane in the next couple months, I'm gonna have to buy an entire full face mask in order to feel like I'm not having a panic attack the entire shindig, you know what I mean? I'm gonna fully get, like, a full face covering PPE. Or, like, I actually have a mask already that so I used to go in attics and stuff a lot when I was an electrician for, like, 5 months. And I bought myself a face mask. Now, the kind of face mask that I have is technically not good for COVID because it has things that filter the air coming in, but then it has vents that just open up completely when you're breathing out. But I don't care about other people. Like, I'm not worried about me spreading COVID. So if I just have to, like, use the same face mask that I already have and then get filters on it that can filter bio shit as well, I don't know. That's the one thing that I'm like, oh shit, I really would almost rather drive 27 hours, but it would also cost $400 in gas round trip. So it would probably be a lot cheaper to fly. Tequila does not have worms. That's mezcal. I don't know. I don't know anything about anything here. I had a bottle that said tequila and had a worm in it. It's so... I don't understand the worm thing, but... I also don't really need to. Oh, worm? Oh gosh. This discussion is why I drink gin. I've weirdly never had COVID yet. I had some kind of sickness last year in June. I never got tested, but I think that I had probably Delta. Because I was, like, pretty sick. And it kind of started to go away, and then it kind of came back. Like, I don't know, maybe I got sick, like, twice in a row. I'm not sure. So maybe I did have COVID last year. I don't know. I still need to buy some cricket powder and let you all know how it goes. I need to cook with cricket powder and see if that's a viable way to get some protein added into our diet. Oh my gosh. Unlike No Offense, I don't have worms in my brain. Name of his song. I don't listen to any of his music, actually. I probably should, because it's pop punk and I would probably like it. Rebound COVID is a thing where it goes away and comes back again right away. Don't know why, though. I thought that was a thing with recent strains of COVID, not with Delta. Delta was a year ago. Oh, God. Yeah, I thought it was the new one that was causing rebound COVID. But I did. I was sick for like a couple weeks in June, and then I felt better, and then I got sick again for a couple weeks last year. I don't know if it was two different things. If you didn't test, it's probably just a cold. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I went to a... I thought that I was mostly over it, and I went to the barbecue that I go to every year, and someone I know from the barbecue ended up with COVID later. I don't know if it was like I brought it to the party or what. But I don't know why I didn't test. I just wasn't really thinking about it at the time. I've read that people with blood type O get COVID less often by quite a lot. Interesting. I think my blood type is A. Oh god. Here is an article on the worm in the spirits. Okay, the article is open. Okay, y'all. My voice is tired. I have enjoyed hanging out with you very much. Kind of just talking about nothing in particular. That's always a very enjoyable way to spend time. I think you're all very interesting people to hang out with and chat. So I'm done for today though. So I'm gonna go chill, and I will see you all on Tuesday unless anything goes weird. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Oh, before we go, just real quick, it's been a while since we did the trying to make me laugh segment called Slay the Dragon. But when Baphomet gets back from Canada, Baphomet is going to be available to take your funny videos that you post and put them together for me so that I can actually do that segment. It's a little bit easier that way. So if you have videos that you want to submit to try to make me laugh, you can put them in the Discord in the Slay the Dragon channel. So I appreciate you all, and I will be seeing you later this week. Take care of yourself.